Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ask a Scientist Gaming, where we combine mediocre gameplay with expert science. I'm Ken Hansen, Associate Professor in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry at Florida State University. I'm a photochemist slash photophysicist. I shine light on molecules and materials, and that light energy has to go somewhere. It might make and break bonds. It might move electrons, energy, whatever it might be. We try to track that and control that for things like solar energy conversion, photocatalysis, or photomechanics, or whatever you can imagine with light-driven processes. But more importantly, joining me today is Dr. Shantel Buggs. Shantel, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Hi, everyone. I feel like I have to stare at the camera.
You don't. No pressure.
So yeah, I'm Shantel. I am a sociologist broadly of what we would consider family and relationships, though I kind of dabble in some other things as well. So a lot of the stuff that I study has to do with online dating, multiracial people, interracial relationships. I am, as I like to say, chronically online. And I would say that most people, we consider ourselves digital sociologists. Anybody basically who studies anything having to do with internet or media. And I think we're all pretty much chronically online. So I think a lot about social media. And like I'm teaching a fashion class right now, so I do a lot of stuff with culture and thinking about how media shapes that experience as well. So I feel like that is a very poor summary of what I do.
What's amazing is you get to be paid to be chronically online, as opposed to most people who don't get paid to do so.
Yeah, I guess it only could get better if I, actually could make the whole like academic influencer thing work.
Yeah.
And get one of those gigs.
Oh, there's still time. We're progressing. All right. Equally important, what game are we starting with?
We are taking it back to my youth, to our mutual millennial youth, with the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, I think this version is 1984.
Nice.
Let's do it. Let's, travel the trail. So, those of you not familiar, this is Oregon Trail. I don't know many people that aren't familiar with this game, but for those that aren't, do you want to do a recap briefly of what this is?
So my introduction to this game was in elementary school. It was a teaching tool, right? It was supposed to, I think, teach us about the migration of settlers from the East and kind of the original colonies, original states of the U.S. moving west as the United States acquired more land. And so there's like a trail that people took, across the West up to Oregon to settle Oregon. And yeah, everybody jokes about, getting measles or getting bit by a snake or you forded the river and your entire cart floated or your oxen died, something, any of these kinds of things happen. So basically the fun of this game is that there are a multitude of terrible ways to die. And that was apparently not traumatizing for us as small children.
I loved it. Are you kidding me?
We all thought it was fun.
This is an amazing game. And there's a bunch of different versions of this game. We're doing the keyboard-based one. It's only keyboard commands, no mouse controls. So, yeah, go ahead and hit enter. Let's start. Let's hit the trail.
Honestly, I didn't even know there was a mouse version.
Yeah, the later one, the one that came out with a Macintosh had a mouse.
Yeah. See, I didn't even know Macs existed until I got to college, to be honest.
That's fair.
I think maybe I may have seen one of those like fun color ones in like a movie or something.
Yeah.
When did Legally Blonde come out?
That was late 90s, right?
Maybe. Or maybe early 2000s.
How old is Reese Witherspoon right now?
These are...
You don't want to answer these questions.
I don't know. I just realized the other day that James Marsden is 50.
Isn't that crazy?
So she probably close to that.
Yeah.
Okay, we were just talking about the strategy.
We're picking banker, carpenter, or farmer, and you can find out the difference, but basically it's more points if you use less money, which would be the farmer, but less points if you use more money, which is the banker, and carpenter somewhere in between.
So we just covered this I kind of prepped a little. And I mean, yeah, the money just doesn't go very far. And with this game, you really do want to you want to have more money at your disposal. So I guess we're going to be capitalists, or maybe this would be petite bourgeoisie.
Timeline appropriate.
Because he's a banker.
Let's do it.
He's not yet a robber baron.
Oh, now this is the hard part. Naming your...
Well, I mean, I just pick my name, but...
I mean, obviously, as the leader, that's appropriate. But it's the other, what is it, 4 names?
Oh, man, I think I just defaulted, and it's like Henry, Mary.
Oh, that's not fun.
Maybe we should pick something time appropriate.
Let's pick your colleagues. I want to know who dies of dysentery.
Oh, my goodness. You know what? I think we should name them after Bridgerton characters. So let's name him. The banker is Hastings.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay, so wait, we need to pick other ones.
I'm going to move this so they can see.
Maybe I'm putting too much thought into this. I mean, we could go by first names. We could go by last names. Let's just do, okay, wait, one of them's named...
So what is the timeline on this? What years? 1860s. What are we doing? Real Oregon Trail.
1840s. Okay,
1840s and 1860s.
So before the Civil War.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll name one Daphne. Since it's before the Civil War, it's also before the Dred Scott decision. See, this is how I teach African American studies.
Yeah, you have the timeline down.
We're gonna name somebody Dred.
After Judge Dredd, obviously.
No, Dred Scott. No, not. Well, wouldn't Judge Dredd? Isn't that 2 Ds?
It is 2 Ds.
Okay. See, I know my references. Okay, wait. We went from
1860s. What is going on then?
Oh, let's do one named Phyllis. I'm blanking on her last name right now. She was the first formerly enslaved woman to ever publish. She published a book. I'm pretty sure her name was Phyllis Wheatley.
Let's see if Google gives me an answer. Phyllis Wheatley.
Yeah, I just got her name wrong.
That's fine.
We'll go with that. We'll just go with that.
Good enough.
Okay. We need a 5th name.
It's too much pressure. I've got nothing. This is your journey.
Actually, what was his name? I just learned from this podcast I was listening to earlier today, the name of the enslaved person who was enslaved to either Lewis or Clark, and he was like a hunter on their expedition.
Clark.
York.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, we got the names.
So 3 enslaved people and 2 imaginary people from Regency era Britain.
That's amazing. I personally would have gone with Scooby-Doo in the game, but whatever.
Oh, that's fun. Sure, the names are correct. Why not?
Perfect.
I do have a grandma named Phyllis, so we can also say that that's her.
That's awesome.
Okay, yes, Independence, Missouri.
Right.
Okay, so my logic the last time I played this was to choose March because I figure you want as much time where the weather isn't winter, but then a good part of March is actually still pretty cold on this trail because we have to remember that they didn't have global warming then. So I actually think April might be a better start time because it's like still good weather, isn't oppressively hot, but still is early enough in the year that like you could potentially finish before like the winter sets in.
That's fair. I honestly don't remember how long it takes to, because it's 2,000 miles, right? It's several months.
And you have to like build in stops and rest and all that. So like it takes a really long time. So I'm gonna try April just because this might also help with like illnesses.
I look forward to you dying at the first river and having to do all this again. This is gonna happen.
We can come up with a new theme for the names. Yes. Okay. Oh wow, they really do give the banker so much more money.
Yeah, no, buy your way out of it.
So like the farmer only gets $400, y'all.
Yeah, that's hard.
Okay.
This one, I don't think you can even spend it all.
No. We could literally buy, I think, everything that the store recommends and probably still have several $100, if not close to $1,000 left over, to be honest. Okay. Yes. So we need oxen. I believe they're going to recommend 3 yokes of oxen. I'm shocked that I remember this.
Yeah.
And then at least 2 pairs of clothing for each person on the, I keep forgetting, wagon. It's a wagon.
Yeah.
And then you need, I forget, it's so many hundreds of pounds of food or something that you need.
And bullets.
And then you need lots of bullets. Now, the one thing I will say, you always want to have a lot of bullets because when you have to trade with other people on the trail, a lot of times people want to trade bullets.
Yeah.
They also want to trade spare parts for the wagon.
That's awesome.
Food is also a thing that people want to trade, but I feel like that's a thing you should usually keep to yourself because you'll run out of food easy. And I don't know if our wannabe robber baron knows how to hunt. So, okay, let's start with our oxen.
Does it recommend?
So it's 2 oxen and a yoke, and they recommend 3.
Yeah.
So I think
How many can you buy?
I don't know. I mean, I think
They probably cap it at something. I don't remember. 45 oxen.
I don't even know if that, because I mean they're $40 a yoke.
Yeah.
So, I mean he's rich, so we could do 4 yoke, and then that does give you the option to potentially trade an oxen down the road, or not being that impacted if you lose one when you try to ford the river.
I like it. Let's do it.
Okay.
God, it's plenty of money.
Yeah, this is gonna go far. Okay, I want to definitely do food and not do some of the other things first because like that will. Okay, so 200. This is, see, now you have to do math. See, now you know why I am a qualitative researcher.
No worries.
Because I'm like math. Okay, so 200 pounds per person, and there's 5 people in the family, so that's what, 1,000 pounds of food, and then it's 20 cents a pound.
Oh. So $20 worth of food.
Well, it says how. Well, it does
food.
ask you how many pounds you want. So at least it doesn't ask you like what amount of money you want to spend. It just says how many pounds of food.
I mean, 2,000's reasonable, right?
So 1,000 would be at least the 200 pounds per person. I would say, I don't know if we want to do. I mean, because we can buy more food, I guess, on the way. Though I will say it does get more expensive the further along the trail you go.
Yeah. We're going to hunt, though. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, because this is all like coffee, sugar, flour, like pretty much non-perishable things, other than like, and the bacon's preserved.
I'm genuinely curious about the back end of the software. Like, does it matter if it's bacon or sugar? Probably not, but I don't know. I don't know how much they programmed into this.
I mean, I love how they're like bacon and it's like a giant like ham hock in the image. Okay. So the minimum would be 1,000 pounds of food. Let's do like 1,200 pounds.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, see, that's still like totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. Clothing. We just need 10 sets of clothing. Everybody just needs 2 sets so they can have a clean set on.
And that's luxurious. This is the old West we're talking here.
Yeah. Ammunition. I don't know if we should do the spare parts first.
I don't think it matters, does it?
Well, I could sometimes go out of order to like prioritize certain things over others.
You got bank.
But this is also true. Like we still have over $1,000 left to spend. So I guess it doesn't matter. I was having to do a lot of like math and toggling back and forth for the poor farmer because that $400 didn't go very far. Okay. let's see here. So 20 bullets in a box. Each box is $2.
Oh, Actual Education with the raid. Actual Education, welcome. How long until we die of dysentery? You are in the right spot. Welcome, fellow millennial that recognizes this game immediately. Actual Education, welcome. Thank you for the raid. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Actual Education, check him out. Does a bunch of science and math tutoring on Twitch, which is kind of fun.
Nice.
So have students join him. But also an education streamer that brought a bunch of viewers to our stream. Thank you, Actual Education. But yeah, you're joining us at an interesting time. We're at the start of Oregon Trail. Our guest today is Shantel Buggs, who's a sociologist who studies things like racism, dating, relationships, a lot of social media related things, which we'll get into as we go. But right now we're deciding how many boxes of bullets we need to survive on Oregon Trail.
So if we buy 10 boxes, that's 200 bullets. And
that's a lot. Because like you can only carry like 100 pounds or something, right? So one buffalo is all you need per hunt or something like that. Actual Education, I have a question for you. How do you pick the names of your guests on Oregon Trail? Because we were debating it earlier. It ranges from historical figures to Scooby-Doo characters. I'm curious how you decided.
We had a mix.
Yeah, we did.
The Bridgerton characters are not real.
Yeah.
The Duke of Hastings.
But it is an important decision.
The Rake of Hastings.
The dwarves from Snow White.
Oh, that would be fun.
That's temporally important because the live action Snow White is coming out soon.
And then I'm also like, when did that story, like, I guess,
take
like
place?
Originate?
The historical reality.
It's a German folktale, right?
Yep.
I mean, I know the animated film is the 19 somethings.
It's like,
though it's one of the early Disney animated films. It was like 40 or 50 or something like that.
It's an old story.
Gotta love Google. Okay, I see. I didn't even check. Okay, our bill is $520 so far. We haven't even broke. We still have $1,000. So, how many parts?
Deterministic polynomial. Buying items with a value and weight and optimizing the benefits sounds like a knapsack problem, which is a modeling problem, I guess, in mathematics, if I'm not mistaken.
Y'all have already gone over the head here.
That is amazing. Determinism, if you haven't played this game, you should. But also, I don't think it has the complexity of the knapsack problem. This one is like...
Yeah, they actually don't give you a sense of how much weight you could put on your wagon without breaking an axle or something. So, like, they kind of make it seem like you can just put endless amounts. And then I guess they just surprise you if the wagon breaks. I mean, I don't know. People often want to trade these parts. So I figure if we have at least 2 of each, that gives us some good trading power.
So Snow White was originally published in 1812. I don't know if that's the...
1812, so that's before this, but not that long before this.
Yeah. Yeah, so we could have done Snow White.
1812. See, now I'm like, isn't there there's a musical, something, Natasha Pierre and the Comet of 1812.
That's fun.
That's another thing I'm really nerdy about, musical theater.
Oh, well, man, we'll get into that later. That's one of mine.
We could do musical.
I had a summer job where I built the pulley rigs for Playhouse.
Oh, that's fun.
I got some backstage shows and Actual Education. It's one of those Disney things where the original story is horrific. I think that's true with most Disney stories, actually.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I would say The Little Mermaid's pretty gruesome. Like, the original story, she literally dies at the end. Like, we didn't even...
than that, though. She turns into, like, sea foam for thousands of years.
She basically just, like, melts into, like, a massive... It's like The Substance.
Yeah, it's just like that.
Okay, I don't know if we should buy anything extra. We could buy a couple extra pieces of clothing because people do like to trade clothing.
I mean, you're going to get to a new town before.
But like I said, this stuff gets more expensive as you get along the trail. So
if anyone wants backseat gaming, we will take advice. We're pretty shameless on this stream.
I don't know. I don't know if we should have some more food up front because we've got, 1,200 pounds right now?
I say give it a shot. Let's do it. Let's see how we go on this one.
Let's see.
I can screenshot this for when you die and we start over so you can figure out where you went wrong.
This is projection. Okay.
Oh, I hope the music isn't too loud. If you guys haven't heard this before, I'll try to turn it down, but...
Oh, I love when it like does the little screens when you like get to a fort and it's like, you're at Fort Laramie.
Take a moment to... There it is.
Do, 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 do,
How's the volume, everyone? Not bad? You guys need to hear this bit-tuned music. It's spectacular. All right, April 1st, 1848. We are at Independence, and it is time to journey forth on the Oregon Trail.
All right, thanks for that. All right, the weather is cool. Our health is good. And the rations are filling. All right. So yeah, I think we just continue on the trail, I guess. Unless we want to stop and talk to people.
No.
I doubt there's not really anybody interesting here to talk to.
I think, space bar to continue.
Yeah.
So if you hit enter,
okay.
Just pause that. This is what gives you can look at the map, you can hunt for food is 8.
Okay, see.
That's the option.
I swear that was not an option when I played this last time. Do we want to hunt for food or look at the map?
I think keep going. I just want to show you as an option.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got to make us drinks. So, yeah, thank you all for joining us. Ask a Scientist Gaming, mediocre gameplay, mediocre Oregon Trail tonight, and expert science. Guest is Shantel Buggs. Shantel, I like to start every stream with one particular question. It's mostly because a lot of students and younger people think that we were destined for this job. Like they knew from day one what we wanted to do. And obviously, I wanted to be a chemist when I was 6 years old, and that's most certainly not the case. In fact, my lowest grade in high school was in chemistry. But nonetheless, I found my route here. And so the question for you is, what was that route for you? What happened? What did 6-year-old Shantel want to do, and how did you get to here? Because there were many forks in the road, and one decision changed everything.
Yes.
So do you remember those particular events, and how did you get from 6-year-old to now? And you're going to tell this, and I'm ashamed I'm going to miss it. I'll watch it on YouTube, but I'm going to go mix a drink because we have mixed drinks.
Should I wait to cross the river until you come back?
No, just keep going. Keep playing and tell your life story, and you kill about 5 minutes, and I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. Okay. Where do I start this story?
6-year-old.
Yes. Okay. So 6-year-old me. Well, so my parents are Marines, both of them. And so I grew up on Marine Corps bases. And so there was a time that at that young age, around, like 6, I wanted to be a Marine. And then I think my big kind of aspiration for most of my childhood is that I wanted to be a veterinarian. Really liked animals. My family had a lot of pets. And so we I don't know, I thought, it would be kind of cool to be a vet. And then I think at some point, I don't know, maybe middle schoolish, I don't really remember. I guess I kind of decided that it would make me sad if animals died. I don't mean to laugh at that, but basically I thought it would be sad to treat animals. And so I thought maybe I should be a doctor for people, which really sounds bad, that it's like, oh, I'd be okay if people didn't do well. I don't know. That's I don't think my logic was making a lot of sense as a child. Anyway, so basically at some point I decided I wanted to be a medical doctor. And I remember watching like Grey's Anatomy and stuff with my mom. And I think I specifically settled on the kind of doctor I wanted to be watching that movie John Q, because he was a cardiothoracic surgeon, or he needed a cardiothoracic surgeon. And I was like, that's the thing I want to do. And so then kind of all of the rest of like high school was, kind of prepping to try to get into a college with a good medical school. Because I did not understand that concept of how what is it, that like a lot of schools don't just let you go to the same place for graduate school. That was not something I understood as a first generation college student. So I just thought, if they have a good med school, I should go there for undergrad. That was my logic. And yeah, so that was the motivation that got me into college. And then I went to Duke for undergrad. Struggled through chemistry and all those things freshman year. And as a sophomore, I took Intro to Sociology I learned later, a very famous sociologist. I didn't know how famous he was at the time. Eduardo Bonilla Silva. If anyone's heard of the book Racism Without Racists, that's him. So he was my intro prof. And this is probably a lecture hall of like 200 something students. And I remember he sent me an email one day and was like, if you're not a sociology major, you should be. And he basically kind of spent probably the next year or so just really trying to recruit me to be a soc major, because I decided after that class I was willing to minor, but I still wanted to go to med school. And so basically another year or two of struggling, particularly a summer session spent taking organic chemistry. I basically came to the realization that maybe sociology made me happier. And so I was like, okay, I'll be a social major. But then it became a whole talking with my mentors about kind of what the next steps were. So I didn't really understand I wouldn't say I really understood what a PhD was, what it meant, kind of the pathway to becoming a professor. That wasn't, anything that was on my radar. A lot of my family back home, again, coming from mostly working class community, and most people's parents didn't go to college. People thought I was trying to be a social worker. Wasn't trying to be a social worker. That mentorship that was, convincing me that I needed to be a social major and that I needed to go to grad school is why I ended up pursuing sociology. So there was a brief point there in undergrad where I thought, oh, I could do both medical school and a PhD. Wow, I don't know what fantasy land I was living in at the time. But yeah, so we talk about sociology as a major of discovery. Most people don't know what it is before you get to college. You usually learn about it through taking a class, which is exactly what happened to me. And then it was really in grad school that I learned that there's so many other things you can do as a sociologist than just be a college professor. That never occurred to me as an undergrad either. So I try to kind of pass along all of those things that I learned about the assumptions I had kind of coming up to my students now, about kind of what your options are and all the different things you can do with these skills.
Sorry to interrupt. Are you still on the same?
Yeah, because I'm really struggling to talk and click buttons. My brain just cannot do both at the same time. So I know that we can't forward it because we'll sink. It's too high. So we've got to float it. Unless we want to wait for a ferry, but I think we can just float. It probably will sink because it's too heavy.
The most stressful part of my childhood right here.
Are we going to make it?
Perfect.
Yep, nope. Okay, wow. All right. See, part of me was like, it might be too heavy because we're right at the beginning, but I guess we got lucky. So, keeping it moving. Now I'm like, I need a drink. I need some alcohol.
So, anyone that's curious, tonight we are drinking a penicillin. So
that's
it's a
good.
Mix of scotch and lemon juice and honey ginger and more scotch. And it's supposed to be topped with a candied garnish, but I apologize.
I support it. You did great.
Cheers. Thank you for joining me. So yeah, drink in hand, playing Oregon Trail, talking about sociology. So we got up to grad school. Actually,
yeah.
Let's look around. We have to look around. Right?
Yes, we are at the Big Blue River crossing.
For nothing else than the music.
I do there's part of me that finds the imagery kind of appealing as someone who grew up on the Front Range.
Exactly. Pixel art is classic and timeless.
And it's fun colors. Okay. We can look on the map and see how far we've gotten. We're right there.
Took you a week to get there. How far are we in?
We haven't even made it to Fort Kearney, which will be the next fort we go to. Wow.
Right, let's keep grinding.
We've got a ways to go. What just happened? Oh no.
Full screen.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Let's continue the trail. and continue your journey. So
do we want to talk to people?
It's up to you. Do you want to read?
I don't want to talk to these people right now. We can worry about trading when we get way lower on food. Okay. This is, I think, about the same depth as the last one, so I say we float.
I don't remember. Is there a cost associated with that? Because that's a safer route every time.
Well, the ferry, I think, is probably actually the safest. But the ferry costs a certain amount of money. And so if you have limited funds, this person, I mean, the Mr. Hastings could definitely afford to pay for the ferry. But I figure maybe we wait until the oxen are more tired or something.
Oh man, deterministic. We'll get back to your journey in grad school, but this is kind of related to that point where you're transitioning from undergrad to grad. Deterministic polynomial has a question. I have a question tying to this if you have time. Recently, I got offered a PhD position in theoretical computer science. While I'm very excited to start, I'm also a bit scared of how it's going to go. And if I can handle this and if it's really for me, do you have similar feelings when you started your PhD?
Oh, yeah. So again, as a first generation person, I didn't know what I was going to be getting myself into. And I had the fun experience of graduating out of undergrad right after the 2008 housing crisis bubble and all of that. So like economically things were like not great. And, there were a lot of people were going back to graduate school because the job market was terrible. So it was a very competitive time to be applying to PhDs. So I actually didn't get into a PhD right out of undergrad. I had to go and do a terminal master's first, and then I did a PhD. But even so, like getting there, it's an adjustment, I think, in a whole lot of ways. I think it can feel overwhelming trying to figure out how you're going to balance your coursework. And then depending on how you're funded, if you're going to have to be, TAing, or if you're going to be an RA, or if you have a fellowship, I think that if you're lucky enough to have a fellowship, it makes that adjustment easier. Wow, we found an abandoned wagon. That's the first time that's ever happened to me.
63 bullets. Look at that.
I guess they probably died. Oh, we've lost the trail.
So deterministic, I'm in charge of the graduate recruitings and admissions. So I do all the visitation weekends for chemistry, and I engage in students in your circumstance regularly. We have 60 of them visit every year. And what you're feeling is very, very common, right? Mm-hmm. And it's more often than not, it's having imposter syndrome, right? Like, am I good enough for this? Is everyone else smarter than me, more experienced? And honestly, having that feeling is probably a good thing in terms of driving you to succeed. Because I've seen a lot of students fail that had 4.0s in undergrad, were just entitled to be successful in grad school. And grad school is just a lot of work, and anyone can be successful if they work hard. If you got into grad school, whatever committee that looked at that application, they said you have the skills necessary to succeed in grad school. From there, it's up to you if you can do it. And that's the hard part. But at the very least, I mean, it's worth a try, right? Worst case scenario, you masters out.
Okay, that's not useful information.
I honestly, I don't think I ever talked to people as a kid.
So I like to do, because sometimes you can get some gossip about stuff that's going on.
Yeah. I suppose hints and advice, and
but yeah,
a lot of food and.
So this was, so now if everybody missed, Dredd has typhoid and Daphne has a broken arm, and so. Yeah.
Deterministic. One more thing I'll say about that is I still have imposter syndrome. You're going up for tenure. You're like, when are they going to figure out? NSF wrote me a check for $500,000. They're making a mistake. I'm going to screw this up. So it doesn't go away, and it does drive me forward. So, I mean, especially, I was a first generation PhD student as well. And so it was coming from middle of nowhere, Minnesota. I went to grad school in downtown LA. That was a life-changing experience.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't come from a small town. I'm from Colorado Springs, but being in like all of undergrad, I didn't have a car. I didn't even have a driver's license. And so I had to get my driver's license the summer before I started my master's and I drove the car that I bought down to Houston. And so the first time you have a car and a driver's license, I don't know if Houston is the place that you want to be figuring out how to manage your life.
Driving through the Colorado mountains to get there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, at least I guess in some ways I feel fortunate that I was forced to have to learn to drive in mountains, so I can handle driving in just about any weather.
That's awesome.
I always laughed at everybody getting all panicked over the rainstorms because I'm like, I used to drive in black ice and snowstorms.
It's funny. I went to give a talk at University of Colorado and I rented a car. And
in Boulder,
yeah. And they saw my driver's license was Florida and they're like, "Are you sure you don't want a truck or something bigger?" I'm like, "No, I got that. I'm from Minnesota originally." So.
I had a job interview in Ashland, Wisconsin, when I was in grad school. It was and I had to fly into Duluth, Minnesota, rent a car, drive 2.5 hours to Ashland.
Wow.
And this interview was in December. It was like December 12th. And I remember they looked at me crazy because I'm coming there with a Texas ID.
Yeah.
I wasn't fazed because I'm from Colorado. I can drive in the snow. And I'm like, y'all actually maintain your roads up here. So like,
good point.
I'll be fine. But yeah, that was an entertaining experience.
King Willie, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure. If you have questions about sociology, we will get into it at some point. We're just reminiscing right now while starting our journey in Oregon Trail. But Lori, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. You're not late. You are exactly on time. We're slowly getting into it. I think we're a couple 100 miles in?
Yeah. I'm just trading for more food at this point because everybody's sick.
Yeah, Lori, our drink of choice tonight, we're doing a mixed drink. We're doing a penicillin. So this is it's like blended scotch plus some lemon juice plus some honey ginger plus a little bit more scotch on top of it. It's pretty good. This turned out. So I did the low budget lemon juice and whatnot, but
I mean, we don't have any water. Oh, great. So we're all gonna die of dehydration. And we've got an injured oxen. I don't know if we're going to make it to Fort Laramie.
We got this.
We did find some wild fruit, but we have no water.
Lori, I feel like I played this game in elementary school. Yes, it was mandatory learning for everyone in the United States between the ages of, I don't know.
Okay, see, Dredd just had typhoid, and now he's got measles.
I think we're better off without Dredd. I think just let him go.
I think it's close. We've been hitting the bad water. Okay, what is this landmark we're about?
It's a rock.
It's just Independence Rock?
It's a rock.
Okay, our health is poor. Maybe we should rest. So let's do, we'll say yes, because I think we have to.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's nice and peaceful
so
looking.
Beautiful.
It's already June. We started in April.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah, Lori, you missed out on our battle of figuring out who to name our team. It was a journey. But yeah.
Let's rest.
Dredd is a terrible choice.
I actually, what's actually, not hilarious. Dred Scott, after his very long drawn out fight for his freedom, ended up dying the year after they were freed. I want to say, I don't know if it was typhoid, but it was something. It was some kind of communicative illness. So I suppose it tracks that poor Dredd is the one who keeps getting sick.
A year after you win.
Well, it wasn't even really that they won. It was just that the children of the enslaving parents basically got cut and were willing to pay to set them free, but they actually lost the court case. I don't know. Let's see if people have food. See, one of the things they should have on this is like medicine. Why doesn't anybody have like penicillin?
Penicillin was invented in.
I don't think we need bullets. We have a lot of bullets. But see, there's no hunting option. You'd think with the...
It was 1928. penicillin.
Oh, geez. Okay, yeah, these people had no option.
Oh, no, yeah, this is, you get a scratch and you're potentially dead. Like, that's the way it works.
I think they just drank alcohol. You just had moonshine. That was your pain management.
Cut off the limbs.
Well, there was that too, yeah. Okay, 100 miles to South Pass. Ooh, I don't know if we're going to make it, friends.
But yeah, if you guys have any questions for Shantel, she's happy to answer them while playing Oregon Trail. We're talking about, we're going to journey through a lot of things tonight. I mean, we could start on dating and social media. You talk about interracial relationships. Last time we talked, it was at the, was it Discovery Days? We did like this Q&A panel about social media presence and whatnot. And you were talking about fan fiction.
Yes, because that's a paper that I'm kind of working on right now.
I mean, what do you want to talk about first? What rabbit hole do you want to go down? I mean, we could start with a prediction if that's going to help. Do you want to do one?
Sure. Right. I don't know if we want to do one that's like me personal or like well, I don't even know how personal these are, but you know, like some of these are like about me and some of these are just about like
it's up to you, broadly. Whatever you want to talk about. King Willie, I wrote fan fiction in my younger years. That's awesome.
It's what's fascinating about the particular fandom that I'm following for this. So I don't know how many people are familiar with the science fiction show The 100. But that fandom, even though the show ended, I want to say 2021, 2020, the fandom is still writing, which is interesting. Funny enough, one of the main characters in that show, Bellamy, shares a name with the building that the sociology department is in, and the College of Social Sciences at FSU is in. And the real Bellamy, who that's named for, he was, I believe, like one of the first sociology professors at FSU, back when FSU was a women's college. So there's your fun connection of materials. But the funny thing about that show, I think, so it's based on a book series, which I also own the book series, but I think all the characters are named after scientists because basically this is like a space colony that was founded by scientists escaping nuclear war. We love the post-apocalypse. Okay, I want to look at the map. It's like, how far have we gotten? Okay, we've made it a decent distance. We've made it to South Pass. That's farther than I thought we were.
So we're gonna speed run NARC later. And one question we like to ask our guest on every game: what do you think the world record fastest time to beat this game is?
We don't need more bullets. That's the one thing we have plenty of. I don't know. I'm debating if we need to change our food rations. Where are we at on our supplies?
Oregon Trail speedrun, K through 5, absolutely. So Shantel, what's your guess of the fastest someone has beaten this game?
Oh man, I don't know. I think if you continue on the trail and like just bought a lot of like food probably at the beginning, you probably could maybe survive to the end without having to do a lot of, other kind of clicking around. But I feel like that would still take, I don't know, how long have we been doing this?
43 minutes.
We're not even halfway. I mean, in my defense, I'm not very good at doing two things at the same time. Okay, this is what I wanted. I wanted to check supplies. Okay, right. We have...
I'm going to give you the answer, though.
117 pounds of food. I feel like we really desperately need food. So we need to get to, like, a fort.
The world record fastest time is 3 minutes and 25 seconds.
What?
Yes.
What were they doing?
You guys want to check it out? Here's a link to speedrun.com. Oregon Trail, the version we're playing, 3 minutes and 25 seconds. That is amazing. I think they're just typing, and keep in mind they played hundreds and hundreds of times, right? So if it fails on a river, it's like, start over, do it again.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of like what is the word? Like the luck of the draw, basically.
Yeah. In speedrunning, we call that random number, or RNG, random number generator.
Yeah.
And you just do it over. I'm sure they glitched the hell out of it. I'm going to watch that video
Yeah, that
after.
seems extremely fast.
Yeah,
just given like that you can run out of food, or your oxen can run off, or whatever
Or
else
you find
happens.
bullets.
Yes, you find an empty. Okay, the trail divides. Do we want to head for Green River Crossing or head for?
I don't know. Chat, if you have a vote, what's it going to be? 1 or 2? And you
Let's look at the map. Okay, so this doesn't really. I think Fort Brigadier is south.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Green River Crossing must be up towards Soda Springs.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the fort you can buy stuff, but it's going to take longer. God, this map looks so realistic. It's amazing.
I mean, we're getting pretty low on food. So I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of money, so it's not that we can't buy food when we get to the fort, but it is, given that everybody's health is not in great going south. Like, these are things to debate.
Cuddle Puppy's vote is 420 Vape Nation. So the Green River Crossing is what Cuddle Puppy advocates for. And Lori has redeemed request a factoid. Lori, thank you for spending your internet points. She wants you to drop a knowledge bomb. What's a factoid?
Oh,
Maybe decide
man.
which way you're going first, and then
Let's just go the shorter distance and let's see if we can kill Dread off.
let's do it.
Poor Dread. So, factoid. So interestingly, I think when people think about online daters, they think about young people because that's your primary, kind of target for most of these apps. But more and more research seems to be indicating, particularly that college-age students are really running away from online dating apps. They don't like them. And that actually your fastest growing market for online dating like users who are actively signing up and using the apps is actually like way older kind of generation. So like 50 plus.
Way older, a little harsh on that one.
No, I mean,
Not
if you're talking about a thing that it was designed for 20-year-olds, like the fact that 50 plus is who is kind of outpacing everyone as age groups.
Yeah.
That is.
So where are they running back to in-person dating? Is
yes.
that
So younger. Okay. I mean, so part of this is some folks think that the young people are just lying. But I mean, I would say anecdotally, based on conversations with my own students, but also survey data I've seen from a multitude of different sources, they prefer in person. Another thing also, so a lot of these surveys I see are like with like sophomores, rising sophomores in college. And so if you've only been in college about a year, there's a good chance you probably might still be dating your high school sweetheart. And so I've talked to a lot of my students, like I just gave a talk at UVA and talking to students there, they're still dating the person they were dating in high school. So I think part of that too is like, we have to, I think, also be cognizant when we're talking to college students, like, are they seniors in college? Have they been there for 4 years? Did they go to school out of state? Like, there's, I think, a lot of factors that are going to shape whether the students want to, be dating, anybody on campus at all, or if they want to meet in person, all those kind of things.
That's so underappreciated, the difference between an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old. Just like the development you go through in college and why college is more than just the classes you take, like it is the experience and whatnot. That makes perfect sense. Cuddle Puppy. So you're saying dating apps are the Facebook now?
I mean, I think in some ways. Now, I will say, I think that the users for like specific apps like Grindr, like that, I think has continued to remain pretty consistent. I think that there's particular groups who, it's just, especially if you're going to school in a town that doesn't even have a gay bar or something like that, like, where are you going to meet other gay people? So the apps, kind of intervene in that. But again, I don't know. The thing that I'm really interested to kind of see kind of going forward is because more research, particularly out of the Williams Institute, which is like a LGBTQ focused research institute, is that younger generations are more women in particular in those younger generations are more likely to identify as like not heterosexual. Many of them like bisexual or pansexual. Okay, let's see here. I feel like we need some more food because our health is terrible right now.
Lori, how dare you speak poorly of the music from Oregon Trail? It's going to get caught in your head. You're going to learn this, Lori, I promise. I've heard undergrads talk about apps are for hookups, but not for dating.
Yes, that is largely, I would say, a lot of people's perception. And I think what's driving that is the kinds of apps that are the ones that really kind of drive the market right now.
Yeah. And it's just understood that's the goal of most of those apps then.
Well, so the apps that tend to drive the market, I feel like we're going to just basically give up one of my questions.
Well, maybe I'll ask the question before you give anything up. But Lori wanted to say, I met my husband on Match.com when I was 38 and he was 48.
Yes.
So that was, 10 years ago. She met him on Match.com. Before it turned into a steamy pilot.
I don't even know if it's that, because I think even I'm thinking of some research, and he's been publishing on this, I would say, since 2012. I mean, online dating for a lot of groups has displaced, most other traditional quote unquote ways of meeting your partners, which would be through like your community groups, your church, your neighborhood where you live. So I think it is still a pretty viable way for people to meet partners. But I think for younger generations, particularly college students, I don't think it's as appealing to them.
Cuddle Puppy's counterpoint. So you're telling me that hothornydudes.com isn't good for serious relationships? There are single mothers in your neighborhood, Cuddle Puppy.
I don't know. I mean, there's white people meet or farmers only.
Yeah. I was going to say, I've seen those. All right, we're going to put up a prediction for you guys right now. If you're not following us, click the follow button, get your standard internet units. We're going to ask you a question that Shantel came up with before coming to join us on the stream. And it's related to dating apps. And this one's pretty straightforward. You guys have 2 minutes to pick an answer. Which dating app has the most users? Is it Tinder or Bumble? Note you're on Ask a Scientist Gaming Honor Policy. You can't Google this or Chat GPT it. What do you know about Tinder and Bumble and the history of their number of users? Which one has more users? Depending on your degree of confidence, click that predict button. You can predict more points or less points. Maybe old horny dudes might be better. That's called nursing homes now, Lori.
I can't tell if that's made up or if that's real, to be honest, at this
Not
point.
Googling either way.
Yeah, I don't think you want that in your search engine.
Cuddle Puppy.
Okay, we are out of food, friends. We're going to starve to death.
Let's hunt. Do it. Show everyone hunting on this. This is amazing.
Okay.
Enter
now we go. Here we go. Okay,
that
that must be what I was missing. Okay.
All right, so you can use this.
We use the arrows.
You can use these.
Okay, to point rifle.
Yep. So that'll point you all the different directions.
Well, let's try.
All right, you guys have about a minute left. What's your guess? Dating app with the most users? Is it Tinder? Is it Bumble? Those are your two options. It's one of those two.
Wait, how do I shoot the actual bullet?
I think spacebar.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. Oh, wait, deer's going back. Nice.
Yay!
I think you can walk too, maybe enter or one of the...
I have no idea.
I don't remember what it is. Try enter, see if that makes you walk.
Oh,
there you go.
You know what? Your memory for this is good. Okay, we got 68 pounds of meat. Let's try to hunt again, huh?
Yeah, so you're gonna get good at this. Let's do it. All right, you got 10 seconds left. Which one's most users? Is it Tinder? Is it Bumble? What is the answer? Click quick. Nice.
Oh, so close.
Line of sight.
I love this. Oh,
it's
no.
Realistic.
The little fox.
Can't.
Oh, I don't want to shoot the fox. I just watched The Wild Robot, and so the fox in that.
That's awesome. All right, Shantel, what's the answer?
Very
Dating
sweet.
app with the most user, Tinder or Bumble?
It's Tinder.
Tinder is the most popular app by number of users, presumably by number of real users as well.
Well, so they are.
Let me recount the numbers quick because you have them listed. So
yeah.
Tinder has 80 million users globally. Baboo 36 million, Bumble 32 million, Hinge 29 million, Tantan 18 million, and Grindr 18 million. I haven't heard of half of these. Are these
international? So Badoo is Russian.
Okay.
And actually, the guy who founded Badoo, which Badoo was founded actually quite a while ago. He is the guy who partnered with the woman who founded Bumble. Mm-hmm. And so the woman who founded Bumble actually is used to work for Tinder. And basically because of she was experiencing sexual harassment in the workplace, and there was also all of these, problems with sexual harassment on the app. And so she wanted to come off and kind of found her own thing. So Badoo is bigger globally. It doesn't really have a market, I think, in the US at all. Whereas Tinder obviously, has an international market. And so in the US, Bumble is right behind Tinder. But internationally, Badoo has that kind of ground. Now, Hinge is another one that has a bigger market in the US. So Tantan is a Chinese specific app. And there hasn't been as much of a market there for that kind of dating app, but that's the one that has kind of started to get some, I guess, traction. And then of course Grindr is the long-standing.
Cuddle Puppy has a follow-up additional piece of information. Grindr is only successful when there's a Republican convention in town. Which is data supported, right?
I remember that people have people to pull some of that I mean, now I've actually gone and looked into, most of these apps are free, but they have increasingly monetized elements of them. And so some of these apps, particularly if you want to be able to travel internationally and be able to basically have casual sex internationally, you can pay for translation components in the app. So instead of having to go to Google Translate, you can just use the app.
That's amazing. All right, deterministic polynomial changing directions a little bit, briefly going back about what you said, the difference between 18 and 22-year-olds because of the college experience. Where I'm from, the Netherlands, a lot of students decide to stay at home, the universities, since the universities are very close. Hence, we have a word for this difference in experience between someone living at home and someone who moved out. It's student starving Satcherstand. That's amazing.
I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna attempt that.
That's amazing, man. My advice to anyone going off to college is go somewhere else.
I don't know. If I was in Europe, I would not go somewhere else.
Well, you can go somewhere else in Europe. I'm not saying go to the US, especially right now, but for me, going from Minnesota to LA, I did a postdoc at UNC Chapel Hill, and then I got my job here in Florida. So I've gotten to live all over the country. I mean, your life experience, your lens of the world, who you are as a person grows and develops in addition to you doing science and education. So I don't know, the life experience made it awesome for me. I mean, for you too, you went Colorado to Texas, ending up in Florida.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely loved that I went all the way to North Carolina for undergrad. I actually never Colorado and Texas actually have a little beef. I grew up kind of finding Texans annoying. Yeah. And so I told myself I was never going to go to college in Texas. So I had considered going to Rice, and I was like, no, I don't want to be in Texas. And so it's hilarious to me that I ended up in grad school in Texas, but that's how the cookie crumbles.
I mean, you go where the jobs and offers take you.
Okay, see, so here we are map-wise.
You're over halfway.
So if we get to Fort Hall, I think we can actually buy some food, but all right.
So Cuddle Puppy, I saw a study Oh, Simple Patchy, thank you for following us. Thank you for joining us. If you have questions, put them in chat. Chantel's happy to answer them. We're talking sociology of dating, social media, race, interracial relationships. Speaking of which, Cuddle Puppy has a question. I saw a study recently where they found that young multiracial people were more likely to be conservative than any other racial group except for white people. Any thoughts on why that is?
Wow.
Or are you familiar with that study?
I am not familiar with that study, and I definitely want to read it now.
Cuddle Puppy, if you have a link, I think you're VIP status, so you can post a link in chat if you happen to find it. Oh, take that, squirrel.
No! No, give me the bear. We got 2 pounds of meat from that squirrel.
Totally worth the 12 bullets you put into it.
I am not an expert hunter, as we have established. Oh my gosh. Which my grandfather, who is a hunter, would probably be quite offended.
So it's a Reddit post in Political Leanings of American Youth, but the moderators deleted the post, so we can't see the actual link there.
Oh, I wonder. So
it says the source for that thread is the Harvard 49th Youth poll.
I would have to look into that poll, into the in terms of how they recruited their sample and what kinds of questions they asked. I am not necessarily, I guess, totally rejecting that claim, perhaps. We are at Fort Hall. It's July 31st.
You did it. Let me try it on one of my other browsers. Sorry, I'm using Edge on stream because that I don't use ever.
So, I mean, given that the multiracial identifying population, not even getting into the actual documented increases. I mean, they're not huge increases, but we have seen some changes in people's racial identification patterns as a result of ancestry DNA testing. And so we do see some evidence that some people identify now as multiracial because of ancestry tests. Fun fact I'll give away for free. When I was doing recruiting for my dissertation research, some of the people who I messaged because they indicated on their dating profile that they were multiple races, when I messaged them, they would tell me, oh, I'm actually really just white, but we just did an ancestry test and found out. And in all the cases, they found out that a family member, however far back, was Native American. And
Classic.
So for me, I found the impetus to say, okay, I just had my ancestry test say I'm part, Indian princess. Let me go update my dating app to say now that I'm mixed race, on the profile. I just very curious about that process. And so I'm still planning. I'm supposed to be working on the proposal for the book about this work this year, actually. But as a next project, I'm very interested in how people who have done ancestry tests shift their racial identity and how that then impacts their navigation of relationships, especially if they're already partnered and have children. Because it's if you shift your relationship, your racial ID, then is your relationship now an interracial relationship? Are your kids now mixed race when they may not have been before? And so I'm just very curious about all of those kind of snowball repercussions of this person shifting their own racial identification. I haven't fully thought through how I would recruit those people. I think Reddit might be a good place to recruit them. But yeah, so that's a whole other thing, right? Now, given that some of the biggest populations of multiracial people are people who are mixed with white, so they're white, black, white and Asian, white and Hispanic. And a lot of those people probably are growing up in probably pretty economically, politically, racially homogenous communities. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if they also were growing up in politically conservative spaces. Okay, we need to buy some supplies.
So Cuddle Puppy followed up, I was tempted to totally reject that claim. I feel like conservative mixed race people are more likely to follow the one drop rule and identify with only one race. What is the one drop rule?
So I actually would argue that they wouldn't feel that way. I actually think conservative mixed race people would be very adamant that you recognize them as two races. They would be more actually like adamant about like, don't try to pigeonhole me into one group. That's actually how I feel. They'd be very adamant about, you need to recognize both of my parents' backgrounds. And then the other things that might modify some of that would be if they are a person who other people would assume that they're white, perhaps, then they can navigate these things differently. For example, there was a girl that I interviewed for my undergraduate thesis who, most people assumed she was white based on the way she looked. She was dating a white guy in a frat. She was in a white sorority. She would talk about how these guys who were friends with her boyfriend would make all these racist jokes and they would do it in front of her. And she would kind of comment, well, you know that my dad's black, but like, you know, really that wasn't a deal breaker for her that those kinds of things were happening. So I actually, based on just kind of all of the things I've seen in my own data collection and in the existing research, I would say actually, I think that those folks probably are more likely to be very adamant that you recognize them as multiracial. And I think we have other kinds of evidence, I think, to support that. When you saw the emergence of the NARC All That Apply kind of movement that led to the change to the census measures in the year 2000, it wasn't just multiracial people who were like, we want to be able to, you know, say all of the things that we are. There was also very strong insistence, particularly from white mothers who wanted their recognition also, right, of their children's whiteness, right? So I actually think that conservatives would be very rejective of the one drop rule. Now, for explaining what the one drop rule is, historically, the U.S., this particularly operated around kind of ideas around chattel slavery. So just like with slavery, slaves took the status of the mother. They also could continue to categorize you as a Negro, as a Black person, based on not just who your parents were, your grandparents were. They could sometimes go back even further generations than that. And so the idea was if they could trace back to even one Black person, you were Black. It didn't matter what you looked like. And so people talk about how the U.S. has hewn a lot more strongly to the one drop rule in our ideas about race compared to other countries like, say, Brazil, who was also a slave owning country, who gets talked about as a quote unquote multiracial democracy. And they talk more about kind of color. Skin color is how they talk about how they kind of divide people rather than like Blackness. But that's very flattening. There's a lot of research coming out of both from Brazilian researchers and American researchers who go and study Brazil, that like all of these people who would fall under, in a US context, the category of Black, even in places like Brazil, see themselves as part of a collective Black group. So it's not that simple. But I mean, I think even in like the UK, you see people use language like half caste. So there's definitely this kind of logic that permeates a lot of these both formerly colonized and also, right, the countries that would have at some point started to accept people from the literal, right, nations that they colonized.
Well, you keep going. Cuddle Puppy has a follow-up. My ancestry test said I'm 1% undefined, so that means laws and regulations don't apply to me. You have one drop undefined. Cuddle Puppy, you found the loophole to the Constitution. Congratulations. Oh, DNA test. Have you done a DNA test?
I refuse to give my genetic material
Which is a wise
to
decision.
a
None of this is
corporation.
projected.
Now, I don't know if my brother signed up for Ancestry or if he did a DNA test.
Oh,
My
no,
mom,
your DNA is already there anyway.
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
My mom was actually just talking me through some of the ancestry via my great grandmother on my mom's side. So I guess my great grandmother's, I can't remember if it's her like family or if it was her husband's family. Somebody had a citrus plantation here in Florida, surprisingly enough.
Wow.
But like you could trace back to somebody who fought for the Union. I don't know.
Awesome.
So
how accurate those are, we don't know.
Well, this is based on like names, so that's more there's documented.
But Ancestry is good. It's good genealogy. As far as you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you can find people who are documented, obviously for Black people, I would say even for some other racially marginalized groups, if there isn't any kind of documentation, it can be difficult to trace back because there's no recorded materials. Okay.
All right, Fort Hall, what are we buying? Let's go.
I just bought another 1,200 pounds of food because I feel like that lasted us a pretty good distance.
I mean, your hunting's getting better too.
We can sit here and we can just keep jamming buttons. Maybe we should buy some more ammunition, since I seem to be shooting a lot of bullets.
My mom, aunt, and uncle did Ancestry.com thing. Realized my aunt was only half sibling to them. Yikes! That happens a lot, right?
Wow.
Like there's a lot of stories about that, which is kind of crazy. But Lori's other question is: there a percentage of race that is considered standard in considering yourself multiracial? My grandma's 1/4 Cherokee, but I have never considered myself anything but white. Is there a bar? What's the metric when somebody defines themselves?
Oh, so with Native Americans, Indigenous, Métis, et cetera, people, it's a little bit more complicated because their communal logics of inclusion are not similar to like some of our other logics of inclusion. As I've had it phrased to me, it's about who claims you. Right. It's not about quote unquote, you have genetic, right. Yeah. And a lot of that blood relation thing is complicated for a lot of tribes because it reifies blood quantum, which was imposed on the tribes via the Dawes Acts. And so many of those communities have feelings about blood quantum, even as they are incentivized, I think, to particularly in the U.S., to adhere to them when it comes to who they extend tribal enrollment to. So like I grew up, my father telling us that he was a quarter Blackfoot Indian. So I grew up with the understanding that in addition to my dad being Black and my mom being white, we were also Native American. And then I got to college and made friends with people who were like legitimately from reservations and realized maybe it would be a little problematic for me to be making those claims since I don't have tribal enrollment. I don't actually even know if this family lore has legitimacy. And so it's been a project I actually want to kind of follow a little bit more. Okay, I think we need to change our food rations because our health is shitty.
Your health is fair.
So we're going to up our food intake now that we've bought some food. I don't think we need to... I don't know if we need to rest. Let's just continue on the trail.
No one's died yet, right?
No. We just had typhoid and measles and a broken arm.
Some miles traveled. What's the total miles? Let me check.
We have a broken wagon wheel, so yeah, we want to repair that, which we don't have a spare part. Shite. Okay, well, how are we going on if we have a broken I guess we just are bopping along on a broken wheel.
The entire trip is approximately 2,000 miles divided into 16 segments depending on the route you take. So you're well over halfway. Get this.
With a broken wagon wheel.
But no one's died yet. No typhoid, nothing. Oh, man.
Well, I think it's probably impassable because we have a broken wagon wheel.
Don't you have spare? You bought spares, right?
Well, I traded, I think, a bunch, unfortunately.
You traded yourself.
I didn't think to buy more when we were just at the fort because I forgot. We traded our wagon wheels away.
Sporty Stats, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. Sporty Stats, man, I hope that's Chris, an upcoming guest, but you don't have to identify yourself if not. No, we got a guest coming on in like a month that does sports statistics, which is kind of fun. Yeah, so I'm maybe
okay, we're on to a third broken wagon wheel at this point.
That's your driving. Like, once it's them, 3 times it's you.
Yeah, well, we don't have... Okay, is there somebody to trade with around here? Like, I mean, we made it to the river, maybe. Okay, where we attempt to trade.
So sporty stats. I thought it was interesting when I went to South Africa and Johannesburg. They were telling us that during apartheid period, you were classified as white, black, Indian, or mixed, but government could change you to black based on your appearance. But you could not be considered white by appearance. Thought it was interesting that you could be told you were black, even if you had multiracial parents, wondering if the areas in the U.S., that community that have similar forced race on people. Wow.
Well, so part of that with apartheid South Africa, you might be interested in the work of a friend of mine, Whitney Pirtle, who does her work on the colored population in South Africa. So part of that is also rooted into like apartheid South Africa had a very strict, right, kind of racial setup, right? There were, right, white Afrikaners, there were the coloreds in the middle, and then there were, right, your kind of black Africans. I would say, though, people telling you what you are was a large part of how the census operated before we switched over to self-reporting. So there's actually been some really interesting research from a couple of sociologists. They call it the multiracial escape hatch, where they talked about some historical incidences where mixed race people in 1 year, because the census person would come in and racially evaluate them based on their job, based on where they lived, based on their appearance, based on what the community said that they were. And, you know, you could change from year to year depending on who the census person was who was coming into your community, and also how your economic, social circumstances changed. I was just at UVA giving a talk there, and me and a friend of mine who's a historian there went on a tour of Monticello. So a lot of people here at FSU know the story of one of our kind of prominent individuals who donated money and land to found FSU, Francis Epps, who was a plantation owner here. He's the grandson of Thomas Jefferson. Huh. So one of Thomas Jefferson's other grandsons, via Sally Hastings, the woman he enslaved, was able to pass as white and fight for the Union as a white officer. So, I mean, the thing is we have, and the story that was actually told to us at Monticello was he had started out not identifying as white, and he was living in a black community in like Ohio or something. And then he moved to a different state and passed as white and joined the Union Army. And then his regiment had like come to the community that he used to live in. And he had to tell all these black people to not out him as actually black, because he would have lost his position and his resources as a Union officer. So we have a long history, right, of people telling you what you are if they don't know who your parents are, or you've crafted a really good story about who your parents are and, you know, what you look like and what your class status is. That goes a long way, I think, in a U.S. context historically, to helping sell for people who passed permanently. We talk in the U.S. too about people who passed like strategically just to like go to work. So they would use their ability to pass into whiteness to like get a certain kind of job. They would go work that job, and then they would come home at the end of the day and live in their black neighborhood. So
are you referring to, what's it called, like masking? What's the...
Well, so passing would be the term, but we talk about both like this kind of strategic temporary passing and then like kind of complete passing, where you literally have cut off all black members of your family because you cannot be outed as a black person. Whereas a strategic passing is just, you can temporarily go shop in the store, or you can temporarily get access to this job, but you're going to come home and live in a black neighborhood, right? Or even Walter White, who was a guy who was an investigator for the NAACP, and he investigated lynchings. He was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, but he was technically, via the one-drop rule, was black. And he lived in a black community, very purposely, like, was invested in black spaces, but he would use the fact that he could pass to go and do his investigations of these lynchings. So we have a long history, right, of that. But I think as the US's racial stratification becomes more complex because of our various immigration kind of waves, the ways in which just looking at somebody you can categorize them becomes a little messier, compared to a South Africa where there isn't really a lot of other immigration, right? There's not a lot of introduction of other racialized groups. What was I coming to trade?
Oxen versus...
Oh, we need wagon wheels. And I keep getting offered oxes. I don't need oxen. I
keep trying to trade. Does it change every time?
Yeah. Until you run out of people. So he wants a wagon axle, which we do have, but he would trade us a wagon tongue, which we already have 2 of.
Oh, Sporty Sats, no worry about the distraction. That is the point of the stream. We need people to drink and ask questions, and that's
wagon wheel!
For 1 ox.
I mean, we've got like 8. We've got like 1 million oxen. We could give up
down to 7. We didn't have to name the oxen, so I have 0 remorse. The gameplay is the background, my dude. Exactly. Cuddle Puppy, thank you. Mediocre gameplay, expert science.
Okay, this person wants an ox, so now we actually can have our oxen properly aligned. So yeah, we got 2 wagon wheels.
I like the
logic here.
Santa's reindeer formation. You gotta have a Rudolph.
Well, because we bought 4 yoke, so we still have 3 yoke of oxen.
Lori has redeemed. Take a drink with her internet points. So Shantella, cheers.
Hopefully down at the bottom here.
Oh yeah, no, we're making the most out of this. Thank you everyone for joining us. Cheers to all. Hopefully have a drink in hand.
Does that mean we have to finish it?
I will be finishing it. It's up to you whether you want to. We did all that work to make it, so oh man, there it is.
Woo! Okay, let me have some water now.
Yeah, no, let's. Oh, Lori, cheers. Hopefully, have a drink in hand
and a snack.
Oh man.
Okay. I mean, we bought a bunch of food. I don't know if we need to hunt.
Good. Nah, do it. Go.
You want to hunt just for the fun of it?
Let's do it. Let's see your hunting prowess.
It's bad. It's still
we're good.
No. Come back, little bear.
Remember the walking?
Oh, no. Oh, he's going to attack me.
Nice. Walk is enter.
Right, but it's like you have to like go around the obstacles.
So if you do these diagonals, you can like axis.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. We're doing better. We're doing better-ish. I don't know if we need that 2 pounds of squirrel.
All right, so one of the standard questions I like to ask every guest, just because this is a whole lot of fun.
Oh, look at this. We got 200 pounds of meat, but we can only carry 100 pounds back.
Every time. Exactly. You only need 1 bullet to get 100 pounds.
Rude.
So. But one of the standard questions we like to ask every guest is, unlimited budget, no moral qualms, what study would you do? And I have a proposal for you based on our conversation earlier. Start a DNA testing company, but give bullshit results to see how they behaviorally change based on the outcomes.
Oh.
No moral qualms.
Oh, you're asking me to forget my ethics. Oh.
No, that's part of it. You don't have to answer this, but I want you to. What would you do?
Okay, wait. So it's a DNA test, but give people
No, that was my suggestion. No, the broader question is unlimited budget, no moral qualms. What do you want to study? What do you want to do? You could, like Sarah Hart said, she'd replicate quintuplets and separate them at birth. Like, Scott Stagg wanted to start a religion based on Carl Sagan.
So there was when I proposed my dissertation, I had this fleeting thought. I wanted to watch people on first dates. Like I wanted to like
just
set up people on dates and be the weirdo, like sitting just like the table over, listening into the whole thing and like taking my notes and being a creeper.
I mean, now that's called reality TV, right? Like that's
yes, right. But I don't know what I would have to figure out a way. Like I feel like if I wanted I would want results that limited the degree to which I felt they were performing for me.
Yeah.
And so I would have to figure out a way to I don't know, I don't know how I would stage this in a way but I feel like if I had enough money, I can make it happen.
I mean, if you owned a bar and you set up a camera and microphones and just have a warning on the way in that was like, you're gonna be recorded because
and I think this gets at
go sit at Chili's, everybody's first date location.
No, not in Austin, Texas. Everybody's first date location was a coffee shop. I feel
that's Cuddle Puppy's suggestion. Hang out at the local coffee shop for 12 hours a day.
I feel like, though, because part of this, so I am an avid watcher of Love is Blind, and I have my serious criticisms.
In defense of Lori on this one, though, she's worked as a server at Chili's, so she's witnessed this.
Oh, we're getting the racist stuff now. Oh, I was waiting for it to come.
Let's dive into it.
Hire an Indian to help.
I mean, we knew this was coming.
Help you across the river.
You talk about racial identification in media. I mean, this is it. Right?
Well, okay, so this river is 1,000 feet wide, but it's only 6 feet deep. So we could potentially float this across because it's not terribly deep, but we don't have a ferry here.
I mean, how expensive is an Indian? I'm just wondering.
Let's ask. Okay, we've got a Shoshone guide. Well, at least they tell you what tribe. Okay, that's nice. For 2 sets of clothing.
Cuddle Puppy. The Indian guy could help translate any Hindi books you have.
Oh man.
Wow. Cuddle Puppy. Well done.
I mean, I think we also have to acknowledge that a lot of natives are perfectly fine, right? They talk about Indian country, like they have come to, I think, reclaim that identifier, but I do think that Canada maybe has made it a little nicer with First Nations language. Though I would say Canada's equally as terrible to their indigenous population as the US. Okay, so the guide wants 2 sets of clothing. We're rich. We can just buy more clothes.
Yeah. I said do it.
So let's do that. Okay, he's going to help us float across.
It's not entirely clear how he's helping.
Is he standing?
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, Daphne drowned. Well,
R.I.P. Daphne. Oh.
Bye-bye, Daphne Bridgerton.
Oh, rage. That's our first step.
Did we lose any other material? It didn't look like we lost anything else.
Just a person.
I mean, was Daphne really carrying her weight? I think she broke an arm a few miles back.
I'm going to go Ebenezer and say it's one less mouth to feed. So let's keep going.
Look at the health. It's immediately good.
Strategic drowning. That's the speed strat right there.
Look, do you see this is like incentivizing children to have bad values?
Cuddle Puppy, follow up on the last conversation. Compared to Australians, US and Canada look like Martin Luther King.
Phyllis has measles now.
I mean, so that's interesting. Just following up on your expertise, are you mostly interested in the United States, or are you non-specific in terms of your interests?
I have primarily studied the U.S. However, because I'm someone who studies multiracial identity, you're kind of obligated to be familiar with work about multiracial populations elsewhere, because there's a kind of interdisciplinary subfield called critical mixed race studies. And so we have a lot of scholars from Canada, from the UK and other parts of Europe. Brazil comes up a lot in that work. And so it's like I have to have familiarity with work that's happening in all these other places, even though I am not actively doing work in those places. I've been kicking myself since grad school. I took French as my foreign language in high school. R.I.P. to Miss Patrick. I just learned that my high school French teacher passed away actually this week.
Pour one out for Miss Patrick.
Madame Patrick. Je suis désolée. And I was kicking myself the whole time that I was doing research in Texas that I should have taken Spanish. I feel like I would have had obviously Brazil, they speak Portuguese, but I feel like I would have had a lot more. One, I would have potentially been able to conduct some interviews in Spanish in Texas, which I think would have really opened up some interesting kind of things for me. it would have given me potentially the options to like go to Puerto Rico, you know, like, and other kinds of places, and think about multiraciality in these contexts. So yeah, it's like I have to be familiar with that work. I read a lot of it. Obviously, I review it for you know, peer review, but unfortunately, I don't really have the skills, I think, to do a project that isn't in like a primarily English speaking context.
I mean, that's fair, because qualitative, you have to translate it accurately, otherwise it becomes meaningless, right?
Yeah,
that makes sense. All right, we're almost at the 9:30 mark. We're about halfway through the stream. We're about 3/4 of the way to Oregon. We've only lost one person, RIP Daphne.
We're at Fort Boise.
But we're making progress. Our health is poor, so it goes.
I think we need to take a break.
With the oxen and the kids, that's fine. But anyone just joining us, Ask a Scientist Gaming, mediocre gameplay, expert science. Our guest today is Shantel Buggs. She is an expert in sociology, particularly interested in dating, social media, mixed race relationships, a whole bunch of topics actually we talked about on the way. So if you guys have any questions, throw them in chats. We're happy to answer you. Lori, no breaks if it brings the music back. Music is amazing, Lori. We don't get a lot of sound on this game. We're going to make the most of every single one.
Yeah, they are really charging a lot for clothing.
But Lori has a topic jump for us. What is your tattoo? I can only see the very top. My screen is a bunch of weird hats. Yes.
So that is just a random feather.
No significance. She just
So so Austin, Texas, tons of tattoo parlors. You can definitely get some reasonably affordable work done. So I had seen a lot of people who had this, it was an eagle feather twisted kind of like a ribbon. And that was my inspiration. And that was what I took in. And the guy did not deliver an eagle feather. As you can see here, that's not an eagle feather.
Yeah.
So
best $15 you ever spent.
I think I spent more like 75.
Yeah, no, but if you want a good tattoo, it's like several grand, right? It's crazy.
It depends on the work you're doing. So all of my tattoos are just black ink work. And so that can kind of run the gamut depending on what you're doing. Like I've got several on my hands, and those, you know, are not terribly expensive because they're just mostly like, they're not very big. But like the most expensive piece I have is a band that wraps all the way around my leg. It's a Celtic knot band because my mother's family is Irish. Shout out to the Baileys. I was like, do we have to have the most stereotypically Irish there is? But yeah, so that ran me $400 or $500, I think.
No.
Because, you know, he had to draw it out custom. It took multiple sessions, and it's, you know, it's a whole leg. It's pretty large. Yeah, so I actually have plans for a cover up for this. So like I mentioned, I'm from Colorado. And so the state bird of Colorado is the lark bunting. And it's the male birds are very graphic black and white birds. The females are more brown, where the males are black. But I have a vision of getting this covered with a lark bunting feather and actually having little small birds like fly off into my shoulder.
That's fun.
So I have gotten recommendations here in town for a good cover-up artist, because that's the thing with the tattoos is you need someone who's good at cover-ups.
And you should ask ChatGPT to create the image.
No. No. See, I am a digital sociologist who is vehemently against all generative AI. I only support the algorithms that actually are useful to us and not the ones who are eating up all of our water.
Lori said, Euphoria, they're great. Ask for Alan. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's literally the recommendation that has been given to me multiple times.
That's awesome.
So I've been to Euphoria. That's actually where I got my birthday hand tattoos last year. But I haven't had a chance to actually sit down with Alan and get a quote for some cover-up work. But you're probably like the 10th person who's told me to go see Alan. So
that's awesome.
That is a clear recommendation for his skills. I know I follow him on Instagram. Okay, I think I wanted to buy some more I wanted to buy a couple more items of clothing to get us back up. Now, see, this is selling. What do you mean boxes? Oh wait, no. Okay, wait, no. Sorry, I know what I did wrong. I wanted to buy. I accidentally pressed for more ammunition. Whatever. We'll buy some more. Okay. Whatever. We have money. I want clothing. I need 3 sets of clothing, and then I wanted to buy another wagon wheel because we only have one.
So we finished our drink. You want any? I have Blue Moon High Life. Could make you a wick whiskey ginger beer. What? Is there anything else you want?
I can rep for Colorado with the Blue Moon little microbrew. There was what? We went to some restaurant there when I was back visiting. They made a Blue Moon milkshake, and it was fantastic.
I believe it.
Because I guess they made milkshake. Well, they made it in a milkshake, and then it would it had the orange suffused in it. It was actually quite good. I was shocked.
That's fun.
Who wants a beer milkshake? But it was actually really good. Okay, I feel like we need to check our supplies again. I don't even know what we're looking at
Health
here.
is poor.
Yeah. Well, because we've been on meager rations, so we probably should buy some more food and then maybe up our rations to get people's health back up. But I'm feeling. How did we get 12 sets of clothing? I meant 10. Whatever. That gives us
10. You traded 2. I don't know.
I thought I needed 3 sets of clothing, but I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. We have clothing to trade now. That's fine. That's how I'm going to interpret this. So let's.
Well, you're feeding one less mouth. R.I.P. Daphne.
This is true.
Less clothing needs. Yes. Take that, Daphne.
I totally forgot Daphne was lost in the river.
Yeah,
okay, let me buy some more food. Okay, we had like 600 pounds of food.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you still got a lot of money. You're already 3/4. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's maybe try to bring us closer to about 1,000 pounds of food. So we need about 400 pounds? Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I think we can leave the store because I think we've got all of our supplies. Let's look at the map just to see how far we've gotten.
Oh, you're so
wow,
close.
we're in Boise, Idaho.
Only one needs to survive.
Nice. Look at us. The lesson here is it pays to be rich. That's the lesson.
Which is absolutely true.
Because the farmer, we were done for. And I totally forgot you could hunt. And so I had all those bullets and I was just starving for 2 weeks. And then it was like, you got a snake bite. You got measles. You're dead. Here's your grave.
She's the second best member of Mystery Inc. too. Daphne, who's the first best cuddle puppy? It's Velma. Just say it. It's Velma.
Did anybody watch that
Oh, the new one?
It's the one I think Mindy Kaling was the creator behind. I haven't watched it.
I watched it. It's interesting. If you're expecting Scooby-Doo, it's the wrong thing to watch.
Yeah, I got that
but
sense.
It's just dark and edgy and I don't know. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh no, York has a snake bite.
Do you know how many Scooby-Doo movies there are? Throw a guess out there.
It's probably 15 or something. Something ridiculous.
58.
50?
I know this. 58 movies. I mean,
we found more clothing.
Look at that. That's what we needed.
We are going to be haunted by whoever that clothing belonged to.
Wait, Cuddle Puppy, who's your top Mystery Inc?
Wait, they stole 12 sets of clothing?
You have 4 people and 2 sets of clothing. This is going to be an interesting trip.
Of all the things to steal.
Oh, man.
Can we go steal? They should add an option for you to go and steal from other people. Yeah. See, somebody should have added that in.
Oh. Velma pretty much
size of the situation. Let's go steal. Right. Swiper, yes, swiping. Oh, we're in a blizzard in October. Winter. Well, we are up north. That tracks.
That's awesome. All right, following on our quick conversation about tattoos, I'm going to transition interestingly here. One of my favorite shows on YouTube is when they bring experts in to like make comments on movies. And one I watched literally last night was comments on like tattoos. Okay. Which is kind of fun because you have these experts, these historians, these tattoo artists, and they said the tattoos in Moana were awesome because they represented a story or a journey, which is what you want. And they like shit on movies where tattoos were representing evil and things like that. But anyway, experts talking about movies is a lot of fun for me. And so one of the questions I like to ask every guest is, what movie gets your discipline right? What movie gets it wrong? Or TV shows? Like, what did you watch where you're like, holy shit, they got everything wrong? What did you watch that got it right?
So I think part of the problem is that most of the public doesn't even know what a sociologist is. Like, we only come up when a Supreme Court justice says it's sociological gobbledygook. I feel like the only time I've legitimately seen a sociologist like represented in any media, there was a show called, it was on Netflix. The guy who voices one of the characters in Frozen, he also was the original. He's the Jonathan Groff. He's in it. He's
King from Hamilton,
yes,
right?
Yes, that's where I was going with that. The show, what is it? What is it called? Netflix. He's like basically the show is about like the original, it's basically the origin story.
Mindhunter.
Yes. It's the origin story of the BAU, right? And so I think he's like dating a girl who is getting her PhD in sociology. And that like amazing. Gets mentioned as a throwaway. And then she like says something about Durkheim. And I'm like, yeah.
That was it. Well, that's all you needed.
Well, because that's probably all we're gonna get. Yeah. Because so we have what we call the founding fathers of sociology, and most people would name Max Weber, Emil Durkheim, and Karl Marx. Now, of course, there's a whole tradition of black sociologists who are like W. Du Bois, because he actually is like, in the US, like one of the first people to actually get a degree in sociology.
That's interesting.
And he really pioneered like data visualization at the Atlanta school that he had at Clark Atlanta. Well, it's Clark Atlanta today. It was Atlanta University, I think, when he was professor there. So yeah, like most people are not going to just randomly be bringing up, like W. Du Bois or
that's awesome,
or Weber. Like no one's going to bring that up. But I'm like, just throwing in a little like she's a pretentious sociology like major, and she brings up Durkheim to talk about like I think she was talking about like anomie or something or suicide. So like one of Durkheim's big theories, he had several that he contributed, but one of his big one was a theory about suicide. And like the kind of what informs the social isolation that people experience that leads them to commit suicide. So that I'm like, yeah, if she's dating some guy who, his whole thing is like hunting down criminals and like psychoanalyzing them, I'm like, her bringing up Durkheim totally tracks.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I feel like sociology doesn't really have a lot of traction in pop culture.
Yeah. So
it's more, where do I see professors generally represented in pop culture? And I feel like they largely get it very wrong. There's some show, a bunch of my friends have told me that if I watched it, I would hate it because I think this woman is supposed to be like a Black studies professor, but like, she's like, not even on the tenure track, but is talking about like getting tenure. She has only got like one article. Like it's an embarrassment.
I would deny that person tenure. Not even think.
This is, and like her character like turns down an actual tenure track job because like she thinks that she should be like up for tenure at like Columbia or something or NYU or something. I'm like, shit. And she's like a, I don't know if she's an adjunct, but she's like, she's not a tenure track faculty member. I'm just like, and my friends who are like lawyers in particular, they love to find stuff like that and be like, you would hate this shit.
That's awesome. I mean, so expanding that, well, we'll keep playing, but
I don't even, are we resting? I forget what we're doing.
Fair health, you're doing okay.
I think, because we just checked supplies. We're good. We're great.
So expanding on that definition, not necessarily representation of sociologists, but in terms of your expertise, right? You know enough about, dating and social media and mixed race relationships. Are there any of those that you've seen that like misrepresent or are presented in a
a lot of us who do media analysis talk a lot actually about, frankly, it almost feels like it is almost like excessive over-representation of interracial relationships in media compared to like their actual frequency.
Oh man, this leads us to a prediction. You keep playing, I'm putting this prediction in because this is perfect. We haven't done enough of
it. I feel like we need to ask, should we head to Fort Walla Walla?
Chat, do you have any opinions?
Let's look at the map. Fort Walla Walla is north. The Dalles is way closer, but Fort Walla Walla is obviously a fort. I feel like we can keep going. We've got food. We're almost to Oregon.
Ooh, Cuddle Puppy has a point. There's a lot of multiracial people playing monoracial people in movies. Also, a lot of monoracial people playing multiracial people. Yeah. It's Emma Stone playing a Hawaiian. Yes, it has happened. All right, but before we get angry about those things, we're going to put up a prediction right now. If you're not following us, click the follow button. We're asking the question, how common is interracial marriage? This is within the U.S., presumably? Yes. In the U.S., how common is interracial marriage? Interracial, racial as in defined by census information or self-identification?
The way that the census would put this is people who are married to someone of a different ethnicity or racial identity. I will say, as a little hint, I think they largely are thinking about people who are a single ethnicity or a single racial group with these measures.
So the question is, how common is that? How common is interracial marriage within the United States according to, I don't know, what would that be, the most recent census data?
It would be census and then also American Community Survey data.
Is it greater than 15% or less than 15%? If you're not familiar with the stream, click that predict button. You're going to answer this question. Gamble your standard internet units. If you're not following, click the follow button. Get your points.
York has a snake bite.
Drinking or us answering factoids, whatever it might be. Misadventures, welcome back. Doctor, yes, pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Oregon Trail, let's go. Yes, we've talked about this game many times on stream, but Shantel is the first one that suggested it. No, actually, you put it in your game bio, and I was like, we should play this. And she said yes. So I'm really glad. We're pretty close. We're 75% of the way through right now, maybe a little more.
Yeah, we are at the Dalles. Dells. I don't know how they would have pronounced it.
It's more than 80%. We've only lost one person so far, Misadventures. Daphne drowned in a river. Ooh, look at that.
There boy, it's November.
Lori, there's your music.
I think I maybe need to buy.
All right, 10 seconds left. R.I.P. Pour one out for Daphne. She deserved it. She was sick too much. Her health went up after she died.
We haven't
also, according to Cuddle Puppy, this is Cuddle Puppy, the second best Mystery Inc. character.
No, we
all right, Shantel, how common is interracial marriage?
It is 16% of married adults.
Greater than 15%. Congratulations, those of you that said greater than 15%. Lori voted big on that one. Congratulations on your payout. Pretty even split, 70-30 on the betting on that one.
I feel like we need to ask the chat, should we take the toll road or float down the river?
Put your votes in chat right now. Should we do float down the river or the toll road? Put one or two in the chat, depending on your vote. Lori said river. That's one. Always float river. Cuddle Puppy. That's two.
I mean, he's rich. We can take the toll.
It's a skill check. Oh, is this the one where you steer it? Oh man, you have to do it.
Oh,
you have to do it.
No, we're gonna crash and die.
I think it's just left and right.
Holy shit,
I forgot about this. This is like
after passing the third direction sign, land your raft at the trail. Oh yes. God, no.
Oh man.
Wait.
So arrows.
Wait.
Oh, they're good. You're good.
Okay. Oh.
So it probably goes until you press, yeah, the other one. Oh.
I don't know what the third checkpoint was. Did we get a flag at the checkpoints? It's been so long.
Oh, you got this. Skill check. I like that. Thank you, Cuddle Puppy. The audience always wins.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. No. Oh no. No. We're dead.
Oh.
York drowned. We lost 4 oxen.
Dread is fine.
Wow.
York lost. Oh no, you still have to go.
That's rude.
No time to mourn. We gotta go.
Oh no. 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 No.
Dread. Phyllis. What do we got?
Who's even left? Oh, the only one's left is Hastings.
It's just Hastings. We got the lead left. Oh my god. It's the most costly trip on the
Oh no. Well, we're all gone.
Oh no.
We were so close, y'all.
Skill check. Here lies Hastings.
No, I don't want an epitaph.
Oh no.
Who's writing this epitaph? We're just dead on a river.
God.
Man, that's rude.
Oh man.
We almost made it.
That was so
This is everyone on the chat.
Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. We heard that one.
It was sticking. It was responding when I was clicking.
Cuddle Puppy. This is what happens when you try to film a Red Bull video during your travels. Don't raft the river. Oh my god.
Oh no.
We invested so much into that.
Sorry, Duke of Hastings. Shout out to Reggae Jean Pierre.
Oh
or
man.
Page. Reggae Jean Page.
That is amazing. All right. I mean, we could play again. It's 9:49 right now. At about 10:30 we'll switch to NARC. We could play other games. What do you want to do?
Let's do a different game. I don't think I can suffer through this anymore.
All right, what do you want to do? We got Aladdin.
We made it so far. I can't do it again.
My God, that was devastating.
Yeah, that's upsetting. We really only lost one person until we got on this river.
Lori redeemed. Take a drink. So cheers. Pour one out for Team Hastings.
Hastings, Dread, and York. All the black people made it to the end.
Great drink. Oh man, horror movie tropes be damned. The black people did make it to the end.
The final girl, except none of them are girls.
And Phyllis.
Phyllis. No, Phyllis was there. You're right, and she was also black. So
R.I.P. Phyllis.
R.I.P. to Phyllis Wheatley.
So what do you want to switch to? We got Aladdin, Mortal Kombat 2, Sonic the Hedgehog, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World. What are you in the mood for?
Let's do, I don't know. Maybe let's feel like choosing violence with Mortal Kombat.
All right, Mortal Kombat 1 or 2?
I don't even know the difference.
All right, let's start with 1. And we'll see how that one feels.
I just would have, like, when I was young, I just would have picked whatever woman had the most fabulous outfit.
I like it. All right, we're going to switch to, what will that be? Super Nintendo. And we're going to do a little
Which is honestly a hilarious choice given how much of a tomboy I was as a youth. But I was like, yeah, the girl with the great outfit. That's the one I want.
I mean, that's the nice part about video game characters. You can pick whatever.
Well, I guess I was kind of a
Super Nintendo controller. This guy.
One here.
Yep.
Okay. I was kind of a mixture of things. Like when my parents were still married, my dad, like, he did all of us daughters' hair, and I was very well coiffed and had like matching tights and bows for like every little dress that I had. And my teachers joked with me when I was older that they could tell when my parents got divorced. Oh no! Because I was less put together. Suddenly, I had very frizzy hair. I was like, "Oh, big mixed girl with a white mom energy."
All right, press start. You might have to push it hard. That's not a great button.
So I'm just waiting for it. This actually feels opportune because isn't a new Mortal Kombat movie coming out? They've been showing the
like
teasers.
The sequel
for the most recent remake. I mean, I have a very special place in my heart for the original Mortal Kombat movies.
To say otherwise.
Yeah.
All right, maybe A. I don't know.
I just pressed start.
Well, there you go. We're going to learn something about you right now. What's your character of choice?
I mean, I always liked Raiden, but I also liked... now see, I forget that one of them's Reptile and one of them's...
Sub-Zero's blue.
Reptile's
yellow is Scorpion.
Okay.
Reptile's not in this
It's not in this one. Yep. Okay. I did like them. I don't even know.
This is a fun transition because on Oregon Trail you got murdered, and on this one
I get to
you might get murdered, but you might win too.
At least it's not like the new ones that are way more graphic.
Oh, Reptile is a secret character in Mortal Kombat 1. You have to unlock it on that. Thank you, Misadventures. I completely forgot about
select.
That.
We're gonna be Scorpion.
Try A
maybe?
or B. Maybe?
I don't know.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Does somebody know the moves? Somebody put them in chat if you do.
Right, I don't remember anything.
Oh man.
Because I think I clicked.
Oh, follow up. We got distracted on it. So it's a representation of race in movies or mixed race relationships. Cuddle Puppy said you were going to mention Crash, probably. That one's.
Well, you know. Wait. I don't know what.
Just smash buttons. You've played this before.
Bad choice. I should have chosen Sub-Zero.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. You got
okay, but I don't know how the okay.
Yeah, so you need the arrows and the buttons.
No.
Misadventures.
This is very bad.
Felt like Misadventure said Crash felt like Hollywood clapping for itself. Jeez.
Sure. Maybe I clearly do not remember what buttons do what.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Let's just go with Raiden. See if maybe I can make some electricity work.
Yeah, representations of race in movie media.
Oh man. I mean, as the person I am, I obviously both look at like clearly, explicitly written as mixed race like people. But I also love to read multiraciality into characters. So one of the kind of, I guess, more interesting ones for me is, and I guess they're technically explicitly also written this way.
Oh, you got it. The lightning move. Nice.
Frozen.
Look at that.
I'm just mashing stuff. So the second Frozen movie gives us some background to the girls from Arendelle.
Oh, interesting.
And that their mother, is part of the indigenous population that is effectively meant to be based on the Sami peoples. And so not only, are they basically kind of retroactively made multiracial, they also then fall into what we would call kind of the multiracial savior, kind of magical multiracial figure trope. So I took this great class in grad school called Mixed Race Representation in Television and Film.
Oh, that's fun. And
we were, so we read a lot of stuff about the mixed race cyborg, and actually how a lot of sci-fi media, relies on mixed race figures to they're the person who ends up saving the society in some way.
Interesting.
So Neo from the Matrix is that he's a mixed race allegory because he is both human and of the computers, of the robots.
Yeah.
And he's a savior figure. And so you see that kind of half cyborg, half whatever, half alien comes up in a lot of sci-fi. And so obviously you see that in Frozen 2, where her, kind of magical powers come from her being from that indigenous population.
What was the name of the trope? What did you describe it as?
So be a mixed race savior, or a magical mixed race figure.
Race savior.
Mixed race savior would be probably what it's actually, I think, troped as. So a movie that I recently watched was Bones and All. So it's got Timothy Chalamet, who I call Timmy ShamWow, and the woman is Taylor. I'm blanking on her last name, but her first name is Taylor. And I think she is a biracial actress. So her character, her dad in the film is played by Andre. He was in Moonlight. I'm blanking on his last name right now. So like, we don't ever see her. We meet her mother much later in the film. So like, her character is effectively written, at least in the context of the film, as mixed race, but we don't find out that her mother is not Black until way later in the movie. And so this is that one where they're the cannibals. I don't want to do too much spoilery for people, I guess, but
I haven't seen it.
Well, so like a lot of the discussion about like people's response to their cannibalism is like that it is allegory for queerness, being in the closet, etc. And what was really interesting to me is that everybody's ignoring that her character is Black, who has a Black dad. And as far as we know from the beginning of the movie, right, like this is just she's Black. We don't know that she's mixed race. And yet every other person that she meets on her kind of journey throughout the film who has the same condition as her is not, they're all white. Right. And so for me, immediately, I'm like, okay, when we eventually meet her mother later in the film, who is white, I'm like, oh, like her cannibalism, which they say is inherited, and she inherited it from her mother. I'm like, this is trading in these kind of biological tropes, right, about mixed race. Yeah. So, you know, there was this logic during, particularly during chattel slavery, you kind of had competing logics. So there's what we call basically hybrid vigor. So the idea that just like with animals, right, if you mix breeds, right, or mix people, it actually makes like a more powerful, stronger, smarter, etc. You know, like more like this is where some people, right, kind of get this like logic, like more athletic, right, whatever. Yeah. And then you have the hybrid degeneracy, right, which is like the logic that when we're talking about breeding animals, certain kinds of hybrids result in a sterile animal, right, that can't procreate.
Misadventures a la the mule.
Yes, exactly. Right. And so with human beings, right, the racist logic of hybrid degeneracy was that allowing Black people to mix with white people would, you know, result in someone who was, right, like they would have their intelligence and other kinds of human capabilities lessened, right, because of that Blackness, right? And so for me, I thought it was just really interesting kind of like way of like, if she's got this genetic cannibalism that she's inherited and she inherits it from her white mother, what does that have to say potentially about whiteness? Particularly, right, like whiteness and like historically and violence, or like whiteness historically and like consumption, or like even like our relationship when we think about like the history of colonialism. I'm just mashing buttons. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
So Sporty Stats actually put some of the moves in chat. And so if you want to do a torpedo, back, forward.
Where is even the back?
You know, just to, like, if you're facing towards them, just back, forward is a torpedo move. That seems like the easiest one.
Let's see if we can actually make that.
Does it teleport?
Okay.
Do it. Let's try it. Let's try some moves. So let's try down, up first, and then mash buttons.
Do I hold them together?
No, just down and then up.
Okay, just very quickly in succession.
Yep, we're going to give this a try.
Okay.
Whoa, we got to move, ladies and gentlemen. All right, back, forward. No, wait. No, we'll try that one next.
Sub-Zero's moving way too quickly for me. I can't.
This game was ruthless, though. Like, this was a quarter eater, is why they made it.
One other thing I was thinking about, I used to play Street Fighter on like the big. We used to go to the dollar movie theater. Because they would have like the military discount day where it was 50 cents, and they used to have the big arcade game, and I would play Street Fighter.
We could bust out Street Fighter. So I didn't find the mixed race, what did you call it? Mixed race savior? I did find tragic mulatto, though.
Yeah, so that's a big trope. You see it coming up in like literature and you also see it in the films. So the tragic mulatto thing is like basically you see a lot of mixed race characters basically written as mentally ill, and they have a lot of like really horrible things happen to them. So like a great movie example of the tragic mulatto is the movie Imitation of Life. There's 2 versions of Imitation of Life. So this is like your typical, and so the tragic mulatto is often a mixed race woman character to really up the tragedy of it all. And so like in Imitation of Life, this is a woman who's passing as white to access a white husband and access a better life, and she's hiding her black mother. But like part of the tragedy here is always the potential risk of being outed as this is so bad. The potential
gameplay.
The potential risk of being outed as black. And then it's also like the suffering various kinds of tragedy. So it's like suffering violence at the hands of, you know, like maybe the white person that she's trying to marry when she's passing, or like in Imitation of Life, the mother dies and then she has this, you know, very dramatic, like, you know, my mother didn't know that I loved her because I had run away from her and then she died without knowing, you know? So yeah, that comes up a lot too.
I mean, a lot of the examples they show here are earlier, like 1920s to 1970s.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of books, but so it's like Passing, they have the Nella Larson novella there, but they adapted that into a film with Ruth Negga, and she plays Valkyrie in the MCU.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know.
Tessa Thompson.
There we go.
And so that's another, like, there's a tragic end to one of the characters. And again, the tragic mulatto trope often involves passing and some kind of a romantic failure. And it isn't just for characters that are mixed with black. There was a movie we watched in that class that I took in grad school, where it was about a character who was like half Mexican, half, you know, white, you know, whatever, American. And she like literally like kind of goes insane over the course of the film. So like, and it's like out on like the West or something like that, you know, so there's like that element to it too. I don't know where the back or the up or the down.
Something I love about Shantel playing this video game right now is she talks with her hands a lot, and it's like mid-fight where she's just like, I'm not going to push buttons. I'm going to express something.
I'm a certified hand yapper.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, this is clearly not.
Do you want? We could do like Mario Kart, Mario World. Those are less involved. What do you want to do?
Maybe I'll be better at those.
Which one do you want? Mario Kart, Mario World?
Let's do Mario Kart. I don't even know what Mario World is.
That's the Super Nintendo Mario game. Dr. Buggs should move to Italy.
What is happening in Italy that
talking with hands?
Oh, okay.
It's a stereotype of. Speaking of stereotypes. So going back to the movie conversation, the one I see most is the magic Negro trope, right? And there was the recent movie, I don't remember what it was called.
A recent one?
Yeah, there was a recent one.
I feel like people really like to point to Legend of Bagger Vance, which is like super explicit, but, but I don't know what
there's one that took it and like flipped it as a meta. There's a Green Mile, that's another one of those. Man, what was?
Oh yeah. Which is so interesting, right? Because that's also like it's supposed to be a horror.
It is Stephen King. So it's the one that starred Justin Smith.
Oh, is that the one? It's the League of Magical.
The American Society of Magical Negroes.
Okay, so that one is like
it's
supposed to be satirizing the concept of the magical Negro.
Yeah.
So this is what was really interesting. I'm also thinking about like people's responses to the material too, right? Not just the media itself. That movie is so interesting to me because, okay, do I want to be Princess Peach or do I want to be Yoshi?
Wait, Cuddle Puppy, did you censor Negroes or did Twitch do that? You see that in chat?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Fun factoid. So on Twitch, I have a guest, Mike Roper. He does detecting of like diabetes and stuff through try B or A.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. And try that again. He does detection of like diabetes through microfluidics. Twitch would not let me put microfluidics because it had micro dicks in it. So
really? And so it just skipped over that there was
fluidic, yeah, because it was
in the middle
micro dicks, and it filtered that.
That's wild. Well, so that's fascinating that it's like the algorithm is set to just those words in that order, even if there's something that comes in between.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
I don't know if it's still true. We could try test it, but yeah.
Well, so that's the kind of thing. So this kind of thing, I love to find glitches. This is another digital sociologist thing. So when I was doing my recruiting, so when I recruited for my dissertation, I created an account on OkCupid that was like my recruiter account, and I messaged all these people. And so I only discovered that certain kinds of things by kind of going through that process. And so, like, for example, on OkCupid, if you message someone who has a full inbox, you get a prompt that was like, pay $1 and we'll give them your message. So it's literally extorting money out of people to message someone who's perceived as popular because they already have a full inbox. And I just thought that's a thing that I think would have come across in like maybe my own like kind of just use of the app. But like there was that. And then another thing that I discovered was, so this was basically when you can search for people based on different characteristics, and one of those on OkCupid is ethnicity. Oh wait, I forget what allows me to drive. Okay. Wait, we're off track.
Is this gonna be better or worse? We don't know.
I don't know. Again, as I said, I probably have not played a video game like this in a decade or longer.
Misadventures. Surprise,
I think my nephews,
now you help me with my thesis.
My nephews tried to teach me how to play Fortnite, and I was just like, I don't understand.
Oh man, if you are not used to 2 joysticks, or I guess Fortnite, you were on PC, that's a challenge.
They were also trying to teach me like EA Sports, like football or stuff, which is funny because it's like I generally understand the rules of football, but I'm like, I don't understand this as like a video game.
Yeah. Well, what's fun is a lot of people learn sports through video games. You're trying to do the inverse process.
Well, yeah. Whereas I learned it because I was an athletic trainer in college, and
fun.
so I worked with the
Cuddle Puppy. You might need to start NARC pretty early.
Like,
sure, you got a PhD, but.
Look, babe, you would think that on the road I'm terrible, but
man.
Clearly I do not have the best.
When was the last time you played any of these games? It's been decades.
This is decades.
Literally decades.
I haven't played any of this since I was like a child, so it's definitely been over 20 years.
I mean, that's fair. All right, going back to movies, I wanted to bring one up because the actor that was in the League of Magic.
Yeah.
He was in I Saw the TV Glow. Have you seen that? Talking about LGBTQ representation. I guess it's an allegory of trans.
Yeah. It's on my to-watch list.
Yeah.
It's been very interesting talking with other friends of mine who are scholars of like particularly like trans people or like trans representation.
Is this too loud? I might turn this down a little. Sorry, I'm gonna get in the way.
I mean, it's probably going to improve what people are witnessing right now because at this point I am off-roading.
All right, let me know if the volume's too bad.
Yoshi and I are playing in the X Games.
Oh, Cuddle Puppy knows why. Yoshi's blood alcohol content is probably 20%. Walk a straight line, Yoshi. This is the anonymity of the internet, attacking you directly during your gameplay.
It's more, I'm just very rusty.
Sorry, what are your colleagues saying about I Saw the TV Glow? I'm curious.
Oh, yeah, no. So, some of it is I'm very curious to see that they have like kind of different interpretations of like how much they liked or didn't like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's been interesting to like see the discourse with like that film versus Emilia Perez. Because these are both films, right, that like, so one is like explicit trans allegory, doesn't explicitly necessarily identify the character as trans. And then Emilia Perez, right, like has a trans character. Oh, I'm gonna drive off of this and fall off. It's like in Temple Run where you just like run off the edge and you just go, ah!
That is exactly right.
Oh my God.
Well, you got this.
I don't understand why my like sense of direction is so poor.
I mean, I hate to say this, but you've gotten old. You're past your gaming prime.
Maybe. It's like I think it's like I'm like pushing too far in one direction and then I like lose control.
So I know that's
yeah. So
Emily Perez has been shit on in like social circles, but academically as well. It's
oh yeah, no, it's because it is. I mean, not even for like the complaints about like Spanish accents or any of those kinds of things. Come on, we're going this way. Come on, bye. Okay, goodbye, Yoshi. Poor sweet Yoshi, you've been brought back by the little cloud person. I'm also gonna like blame that my joints are all out of whack from a car accident I was in a couple of months ago. I'm just gonna say that I'm physically disabled.
I mean, sure. You could have blamed the controller. I'm physically disabled.
I'm trying to be kind to the materials by which I'm engaging in this game.
In your defense, the controller is 30 years old.
Okay, so it's probably as old as when I was last playing this game.
Yeah. Well, that's original Super Nintendo controller. It's hooked up via USB. So we're playing emulators, but
vintage.
Exactly. That's that whole road.
When we're dead.
I don't know if you saw.
Was that my last life?
No, you're going till it's done. It's time trial.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the shelf up there, but all the old stuff is.
I saw some. Okay, wait. All right, go. We're in the final lap.
You're catching on. You're getting this. It's coming back. All right, what questions didn't I ask you that I should be asking you? Do you have a favorite equation? You talked about not doing quantitative analysis. Do you do any? It's all qualitative?
I am a qualitative girl. You don't want me to run any regression models. It was very sad in my stats class.
I was going to say, you had to take a bunch of those, right?
Well, so in my master's program, I had to take... So it was a 2-year program and I had to take a semester stats class, and we used SPSS for all of our models. Then I got into my PhD and we were using Stata, and I didn't. So you have to do a lot more, kind of the inputs to run your models in Stata, and you have to be a lot more, I think, active in cleaning your data in Stata. And so that was a struggle for me. And I had to take... I think I was able to get out of 1 semester of stats, but I still had to take a second semester, which honestly probably went worse for me because I hadn't taken the first semester, and I didn't know what Stata was. I didn't know what was going on. I had to rely heavily on my friends who like are supreme, kind of quantitative researchers, who do like not just that kind of quantitative modeling, but like do GPSS or not GPSS, whatever the one is where it's like the one that geographers also use.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh God, it's something else. And then like, so I know the names for all this stuff, like R and all that, whatever.
Wind steps.
Yeah, but no, I don't do that. I'm not good at it. I was in AP Calc as a high schooler, and I was a very high achieving high schooler, but how do I turn around?
I don't think you do. I think just press right and keep driving forward. It'll turn you.
Okay, here we go.
There you go. All right, speaking of which, we're going to talk, Shantel does a lot of qualitative research, not necessarily quantitative. That was amazing.
Oh, wow. Right. Okay.
We're going to do a prediction related to quantitative research. So,
qualitative research.
Or qualitative research. How many people did Shantel contact for her research? And so this was, you had a specific study you were looking at. OkCupid
Yes.
interviews, you reached out to a certain number of people to try to just get qualitative data, talking to them through conversation. The question was it less than 500 or greater than 500 people? Does that capture roughly? That's a lot of people to, well, maybe it's a lot, maybe it's 2, but it's more than 2. It's somewhere between 2 and 10,000. Is it greater than 500, less than 500? How many people did Shantel reach out to for her research? And this is on OkCupid. When was this? When did you conduct
this? Would have been in the 2015, 2016.
2015, 2016. I haven't heard OkCupid in a while. That one went down, right?
No, it's still, they are still active. They've got a blog. They've made a lot of interesting changes. Lots of queers use that.
Press jump. So if you press the bumpers, the things up top, these buttons right here on top, it'll shake those guys. There you go.
He's like a little
Thank you,
rodent.
Cuddle Puppy. They just got annoyed.
Rodent. I'm sorry that you're having to experience this terrible.
They know what they signed up for in mediocre gameplay. All right, you guys have about 45 seconds left. How many people did Shantel have to contact for research on OkCupid in terms of the dating and social media and all those aspects? How many people did she reach out to? Less than 500, greater than 500? You guys have no idea. You're not looking up the paper. So guess how many people she reached out to for
They would have
this.
to look at my dissertation to know this.
Oh, man, and this is just people you cold contact, right?
Yes.
The messages you send hoping some reply, and that fraction will be very curious how many actually reply. It's going to be like 501 and 4 or 499. I'll give you a hint. It's not exactly 500. Yeah. Everyone's a critic on the internet, you know?
Rude. There's so much hateration in this dancery.
All right, Shantel.
Wait, I'm in the water. Save me, little cloud person.
What is the answer? What was the number you had to contact?
I had to go and look this up. It was 484.
Less than 500. You were close, misadventures. It is slightly less than 500. And so this is, you just message these people privately on
so
OkCupid?
this was in the era before OkCupid and a number of other dating apps started to put in place literal bans that said you could not recruit for research on their websites.
Oh, interesting.
So in 2015, 2016, this was kind of at the advent of, this was early on in like online dating. And so, so I created a whole new profile and I had a whole script about how I would message people to invite them to participate because I was a broke, not funded, like research was not funded grad student. I didn't have any money to pay anybody incentives to participate, which is also part of the struggle here. So I would just message people and hope that I would get a response. I didn't mark, so I have it in my spreadsheet who responded to the message, but I just went and looked up like who I contacted. So I have like how many people I contacted, I've marked that, I've marked how many people responded to the message, and then I have how many people who are like, yes, I will do an interview, and then how many people I actually ended up doing interviews with. So out of that almost 500 people that I contacted, I only ended up doing 31 interviews across the 4 cities.
Jeez.
And interestingly, for the final project, I was starting with 4, and then I only ended up doing 1 interview in Dallas, Fort Worth, where I had like contacted like 86 people, and I'd had several other people who agreed to do interviews, but I had to drive like 4 hours up to.
Oh, this is in person.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going and meeting these people in person, and so it was. A 4-hour drive from me from Austin up to Dallas Fort Worth. I was having to pay to stay in a hotel, and then I would drive to meet these people wherever they wanted to meet and felt comfortable meeting, either in Dallas or Fort Worth. And people kept ghosting me, and it just became like financially not worth it. Because like I would drive up there, pay to spend a weekend in a hotel, and I was driving all over the city and people weren't showing up for the interviews, or they would cancel because some of these people wouldn't want to give me their cell phone number, which, totally understand. So the only way to contact them is through the app. And so we'd make arrangements to meet, and then they would, by the time I was heading to the location, they would literally cancel on me like while I was on the road, and I would find out while I was there. And so that happened to me just one too many times. And so I ended up cutting Dallas completely from my dissertation project because it was just like, I cannot financially.
It was Dallas in particular, the prevalence was higher, or it was just the cost of the trip?
That was where I was getting the most people ghosting on me. And
wow.
It was also
Is that a character trait of Dallas? Wow.
Based on the Love is Blind season that takes place in Dallas, I'm going to say yes.
Does that make a side note in your writing then? Just like.
Well, so, I mean, I don't really I have to explain, in the methods of my dissertation, but in my subsequent articles that come out of this data, you don't explain all of that. There's not enough lot of room.
But is it worth a sentence like fuck Dallas and all you people? Like, is that?
Well, so I have that one interview and I keep trying to come up with some kind of way to include her in some other kind of analysis. So I only interviewed women for that particular project, for the dissertation. I went back and interviewed men later. But the project ended up only focusing on Austin, San Antonio, and Houston. And so when I went back and did interviews with men, I only focused on those cities. I didn't even bother with Dallas. So so part of the issue is that, especially if you don't have money to pay anybody, you often can get a really low return rate. And then I think the added thing for me is like, this isn't a survey that they can just, take on the internet, where response rate matters a lot more. Okay.
Yeah.
That says something about like the effectiveness of your recruiting if your response rate is really low. And also honestly, the quality of your survey. But for qualitative work, this kind of thing, especially at that time where like, these are complete strangers, and it ended up, I think, making my data stronger because my interviewees didn't know each other. So a lot of people will, recruit some people through fly ring or this kind of method, and then they'll what we call snowball recruiting, where that you ask them to recommend people to you that they know. And so that can be very effective if you are trying to understand a community. And so, people who know each other is not necessarily going to be a detriment to the data that you get at the end. For me, I think it actually helped that none of the women I talked to knew each other. So I was really getting very particular kinds of dating experiences that weren't like, well, me and all my friends, so it made the data more robust effectively. That none of my respondents knew each other. But yeah, it was a lot of work to get, like, it took me a year to get those 31 people to agree. And maybe it would look different, especially I think because post 2020, more people have been embracing using Zoom and just doing Zoom interviews. I was going to say
that makes life much easier.
That wasn't a thing anybody was doing in 2015, 2016. And I came from a department where a lot of our qualitative researchers were ethnographers. And so it was very much encouraging you doing things in person. And my project was doing digital ethnography, but that was already kind of, a lot of people in my department didn't really understand what I was doing anyway. They're like, you're recruiting from this app, but you're like doing this digital ethnography. Like, what is that? And I'm like, part of it is literally understanding how the app works. And part of my interviews, I asked these women to pull up the app on their phone during the interview, and I would have them walk me through their process. When they open the app, what's the first thing you look at? When you go to a profile, what's the first thing you look at? Talk me through this whole process. And so I keep meaning to write a methods article. I've been putting this off for years.
Cuddle puppies follow-up. Phones hadn't even been invented back then. I used smoke signal interviews for my dissertation. Lori has it also a follow-up. Are you the reason why I'm giving the option to ask app not to track whenever I download a game on my phone?
No. So this is the thing that's funny, is part of the thing is so particularly OkCupid is particularly a culprit of this. They were, very adamant about how you can't, recruit on their apps, but that's because they want to have access to all the data. And so OkCupid, unlike a lot of the other, because OkCupid was founded by a quant guy, a math guy, algorithm guy, they have a literal blog dedicated to all of the data that they explore on the app. And so sometimes they will do experiments on the app. Like, so there was one time they did an experiment where they basically turned off profile pictures for everyone and wanted to see how messaging patterns changed, because oh, these are like ramps. I was like, what is happening here? But they wanted to see how messaging patterns changed if you couldn't see profile pictures. And so a lot of people just stopped messaging. They saw a huge drop in activity because people didn't want to message anybody if they couldn't see what they look like.
Oof.
And so OkCupid still runs their blog now. Like, I was looking at...
Do they publish that, or that's just the blog? That's not peer-reviewed anything?
I haven't seen anything published in a peer-reviewed journal.
I mean, their data set is so magnificent, though,
and
right?
so,
like,
and so, amazing? Like, one of my dissertation committee members, and he and his collaborators published a book a couple of years ago now. They were able to buy data some years ago from a dating app, and basically, like, it would be pretty impossible to buy the data at the rate, like the affordable rate that they were able to buy it at anymore.
Yeah.
And like, one of the stipulations was you can publish with this data, but you cannot name the app that it came from. I have my speculations.
That's hard with like methodology section, because that completely negates reproducibility and like.
Yeah. I mean part of what it is.
On that.
Well, it's like, this is robust because they were able to pay for tens of thousands of interactions on the app. The robustness comes from the literal size, the gargantuan size of the data set. But yeah, it's not something that's publicly available. So, we can say these are our models, and this is how we modeled it, and this is what we did with the data. But if you can't say where the data came from, it's not like it's something that's publicly available that somebody else could access and then reproduce what you found.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's happening.
No worries. After this race, we're moving on to NARC, because it is time if you're ready for that.
Can't wait.
Can it be any worse than Oregon Trail?
Murder.
But you'll be doing the murder.
So NARC is basically the precursor to what's that game? Grand Theft Auto.
Pretty much. NARC walks so Grand Theft Auto can run. So yes, I'll agree with that. But so I mean, speaking of OkCupid, I mean, with that large of a data set, I know they're doing experiments with profiles, but at some point they have enough data. If you apply machine learning, can you not match people better? I mean, that's what they're trying to do, but how much data you need to get
their algorithm is really interesting. Now, I have tried many a time to get somebody in their press office to answer questions for me about like what some of the things that they're doing with like their match questions. So OkCupid does have a match question algorithm structure.
I mean, they ask a lot of weird questions too, right? Like
the questions are some of those are produced by the people who run it, but a lot of questions are user submitted. I have tried to contact people there since I was a grad student to get answers to what the process is for vetting user submitted questions. Nobody would answer my emails.
So it's not vetted at all.
Well, I don't know. There has to be something, because somebody puts it into the system. I doubt it's just like you submit it and then it just goes in, But I imagine they're not doing any like grammar editing, because you see sometimes questions that are added with like grammatical errors. But there's all kinds of other things that are going on in that. So like, you'll get notifications that tell you like, because you haven't been active, they're going to remove you, from or like they're going to hide your profile. You can get boosts and make your profile visible to more people. Sometimes if you pay, or there's other things, right, that you can do. And then they have the match question algorithm, where the more questions you answer, presumably, like, the better it can assess your matches with other But I mean, I think the thing is, though, is this is not a financial model that benefits from everybody finding their perfect match.
That's a good point.
Efficiently.
They don't benefit
They
from that.
benefit from you coming back and being a repeat customer.
So do you think they intentionally sabotage?
I don't think
Make it seem appealing, but not long-term success?
I don't think it's that. I think it is the nature of this format. Like, presumably, yes, if you share similar interests and you can literally see ahead of time that, like, depending on how detailed someone's profile is, you have shared what we call homophily in sociology, right? You have shared parts of your social experience and background, right? So similar levels of education, come from similar kinds of families, similar economic background, have similar religious and other kinds of values, right? Like those are all things that are going to make you very inclined to be friends with people, and certainly, right, to be in relationships with them. And so the apps kind of just you can search for those things and just narrow yourself down to just those people. You don't even have to, right, kiss the frogs that don't match you at all.
Yeah.
But I think, again, with the opening up of all of these other potential options, it gives people the opportunity to exploit it for like monogamy seeking reasons. And the data suggests that men are much more likely to be using the apps for casual sex than women are.
So speaking of homology and shared experiences, you're about to play NARC. Are you ready for this?
Am I using the same controller?
You are no, it'll be the NES controller. Before you press start, I'll give you a little bit of the lore. But yeah, you're about to share experience with, you're the 99th guest on our stream, actually.
Nice.
So yeah, you're very close to the 100th.
Wow. See, I don't get to be special. This is where the confetti would shoot out.
It's random. I apologize. You're close, but no award for that.
I mean, I was supposed to be earlier in the semester, so I would have been like,
that's true.
Some other number.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
But you are number 99. That counts for something. But you're going to share an experience with many of our other guests across all sorts of different disciplines, ranging from music theory to astrophysics, right? And so we're going to see where you line up on your speed of beating NARC. But before you play, we need to give you a little bit of the lore. So here's the original NES cartridge. And so it says, NARC, no one had the guts until now. You are Max Force. Your mission, bust Mr. Big and destroy his dreaded criminal empire, seize all contraband, stolen money, illegal weapons, use rocket bombs, high-powered machine guns, apprehend all suspects, protect the innocent, punish the guilty, stop at nothing.
Okay, see here, he's like in some kind of futuristic SWAT outfit, but in the game, it looks like he's in a ninja outfit.
Let's do it. Let's get to the ninja. My daughter's called it a ninja as well.
But it's like futuristic SWAT. It's like the video. It's like if you, oh God, did you watch that terrible Will Smith movie, Bright?
You'll have to be more specific, but yes, Bright.
Well, no, he's like.
I loved the concept behind Bright. Fantasy, like criminology, like let's do it. All right, so your goal is to walk right and find doors. There's no advantage in killing individuals, except they slow you down when they shoot you, but you're going to tap A to shoot rockets. Hold A is going to be bullets. Tap B is going to be jump. Hold B is going to be squat. But yeah, just keep going right. No advantage in, just mow them down. Keep going right.
Yeah, no, it's, well, I mean, that's another one that film is very, useful allegory for race.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's pretty blatant in that, right? In terms of.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
keep going right.
Go away. Wait, I want the stuff.
You don't need the stuff. You have infinite stuff.
Well, I'm dead now.
That's fine. You have infinite lives. This is what you're doing for the rest of the night. Exactly. Walk right. Pick up that red thing. You need that. That's a card. Keep going right. Find the door. That's what you're going to do over and over again. But if anyone wants to distract Shantel while she plays NARC and tries to speedrun it, feel free to throw questions in chat. We're discussing a whole bunch of things throughout the evening. It's been a lot of fun.
Look at that. The dogs killed me.
Yes. You can shoot the dogs if you hold both buttons. There you go.
This is upsetting to me as a dog owner.
But they turn into puppies. It's fine.
Is that
no, it's like real life.
Oh my God. Not my dog.
Oh, Misadventures is redeemed. Take a drink, so cheers. No, wait. Oh, sure, let's do it. That's how chat messes with you. Not just talking shit, it's making you drink. Keep going right.
Everyone's rude.
Keep going right. Thank you, Misadventures. Oh, man, you missed out. We did penicillin drinks earlier. Those were... Yeah, that was
you make them strong. I'm not mad at it.
I made the recipe you sent me. So I take no responsibility.
Hey, I thought they were great.
Oh,
well
man.
done.
No, that was fun. Thank you for making that. The what? Penicillin. It's you guys can check out the drink here. So we have a drink command.
Scotch,
there you go.
Citrus.
And honey ginger. Which they have a recipe for honey ginger. You're supposed to add honey and a little bit of ginger and water and boil it down and let it sit overnight. And I didn't do any of that. I bought a bottle that did it for me. So
that was part of why I was like, this might be too much work, but I do like these.
I'm glad you asked something like, it's kind of boring when it's just like, Blue Moon. Let's do something fun. So I'm glad you asked. And also, I'm pretty drunk at this point. So we'll take that for the win. We will take that.
Oh, okay. We're getting the Tulsa massacre treatment. They're just dropping bombs from the helicopters.
And the guys wearing black there, they're shooting syringes at you full of heroin. So, no, you're a kid of the 80s. You remember what it was like. This is NARC. Oh, but
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. Am I being too high pitched?
No, remind me to tell you a fun factoid about this game related to your expertise. But you're going to do a card up here. So you're going to shoot the guys in black up here with bullets at close range. And one is going to drop a blue card. There it is. All right. Blue card. Get that right there. So a fun factoid. Touch this.
Well, I'm dead
like
now.
Key card. Yep, and then go through the door. Fun factoid about NARC, and I don't think anyone on stream knows this because we haven't talked about it. So this is a 2-player game. You can do 2 players. The main character, this guy is named Max Force. Player number 2 is named Hitman, and Hitman is actually black in the game lore. You can actually see him in the gameplay as black. It was one of the first playable black characters in video game history. Was in this game, and it's because the creator of the game really liked like 48 Hours and Lethal Weapon.
That totally tracks.
I want this character trope in NARC. And so,
there's great writing about the buddy cop like trope.
Yeah.
And how like the POC buddy to the white cop. It's always interracial pairings for a lot of those buddy cop films.
You're gonna jump in this car down here.
How do I do? I just jump?
Tap B. Tap a little less on B. There you go. Now stay at the bottom, go right. There you go, you're cruising. NARC Drink and Drive. Thank you, Lori. She redeemed Take a Drink because you were driving and that's safe. So cheers. Well, Shantel, thank you.
Then I crashed.
RNG giveth, RNG taketh away. Absolutely. Thank you, Misadventures.
Well, so I mean, this is...
Keep going right.
I am organizing...
Oh, get him.
A session on... Oh man, that's... What is this? Is he punching me?
That's Mo Rockhead, and he punches, as drug dealers do. Just keep going. They keep coming.
But I'm just like, okay, bud.
Sorry, you're chairing a session.
For my professional organization, I am organizing a session.
So tap B to jump.
Okay.
A little gentler on the jump. There you go. Now go right. Physics. This game keeps giving, I promise.
So I'm organizing a session on digital sociology, but there was a really interesting proposal for a paper that was about, it was comparing like premium and freemium online games and like the racial representation of like the default.
You gotta pay to not be white.
Basically.
That's intense. Holy shit.
And that's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, there's I mean, this is the fun of like, I think doing like media work. Obviously it's something that like students can really get into. It's like in my sociology of culture class, we do a unit on fandom culture, but we talk about gaming. So of course we have to talk about Gamergate and that kind of a thing. Yeah. But I learned a lot of interesting things from students about like, you know, obviously like representation that's happening in the games. This is where I learned about that video about the strategic butt covering of like how male characters in games will often have like capes or tattered pieces of fabric.
There's an awesome video where you replace Batman's character with Catwoman's, and it's just it's
and
glorious.
where like, you know, women characters are like, you know, completely exposed.
Yep.
And so it's really interesting to think about, you know, gender.
Keep walking right. They'll keep coming.
Just see, the impetus is I want to kill everything because you get points, but it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't actually matter. Okay, wait. I get
Cuddle puppy. I'm an equal opportunity butt starer. That's good.
As a fellow bisexual, I support that.
There you go, cuddle puppy.
We love chaotic bis in this house.
But to follow up on that conversation, I mean, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but you should write a paper on NARC. I mean, I think it needs to happen at this point.
I mean, that lore is fascinating.
Well, what's curious about it too is that I don't know how they programmed the characters in, but there's certain levels where his skin appears white and other ones where it's black. So it actually
did they like
changes.
Forget who
I don't know.
Was?
It's basically they took, you know, this one and changed it to reds, you know, versus I don't know.
I keep wanting to jump on his head like this is Mario.
That's worth a try.
Squish him like they should make that an option. It's actually rude that they don't.
Drug use, I get it. All right. Oh, Lori, we got your take a drink. Request a factoid. Misadventures wants a factoid. While you beat NARC, what's the factoid you want to drop? What's a knowledge bomb that the world needs to know? Well, let's frame this differently. If you could share any piece of knowledge with the world, you had a microphone to reach out to everyone, what would you want them to know? No pressure.
Man.
Jump in this, stay on the bottom of the screen, and drive. And then you can go to the top of the screen. Keep driving. You'll run into a wall, but that's fine. You saved. Oh, no. All right. Keep going. Yep. Jump. And you will ride this out.
This tech is fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Is this my door?
Yep.
Ew.
All right. Factoid you want the world to know. You could clarify a misconception. You could drop knowledge that we've learned recently.
So one of the questions that you had in like the list of ones was about like what's the biggest like one of the misconceptions in your field. I've been thinking about. So one of the things that I'm planning to explore in my book is that so much of the work. Wow, I got hit by a car and I'm being attacked by a clown.
Yes, this is the 80s. You remember?
Insane clown. It's the clown. It's the murder clown conspiracy
in video game form. I think
Yes.
this predated that by at least a decade. So yeah, good for premonitions NARC programming. Way to go.
My God. Get away from me, clown.
No, this is the war on drugs. People gave away drugs and also.
But it's also like it.
Oh no, exactly. All right, you're gonna go to the end and go through a door at the end.
See?
This is not the door you want to be in.
Oh my God. I'm gonna get eaten up by these dogs. I'm gonna puppy chow.
Oh, you're good. All right, through the door, go right. Nope.
What the?
Yeah, it goes up through the door again, so you have to go right. I'm sorry, this game is terrible, but also awesome. So enjoy your journey. But the thing is, they keep coming back.
But it's just like awful.
So press up through the door, but not too hard, just enough to get through.
Free me.
Oh, no.
This is like.
This is hell. This is the infinite loop.
Oh my
This is
God.
Dante's third level of hell. Enjoy your journey.
I mean, dogs are giving like Cerberus, you know?
Oh man. Misadventures is redeemed. Take a drink. So.
Oh my God. And
Isn't that the best at the end of the night? We're sufficiently buzzed while playing crappy video games. And just getting shit on by the audience.
That was just like
But
throwing
if you guys have questions, so you're going to go all the way to the end, and there'll be a door at the end, and that's where you want to go to get the card. Oh man! But yeah, if you guys have questions, let's talk about it.
Am I
Let's
in
talk
the right
about
one? In the right one.
interracial dating. Let's talk about dating apps. Let's talk about.
Oh, well, I didn't even get to finish what I was talking about.
That's true.
So much of the work that thinks about
Press up and down.
politics.
Oh, there you go. Left. Go to that thing.
That thinks about politics and dating primarily thinks about politics only through the lens of like, are you liberal, conservative, or not? And then like a lot of the kind of recent stuff, I was trying to look up some recent stuff that was thinking about like politics and like surveying dating behaviors, and it's largely only asking, would you date someone who voted for the same person for the presidency as you did, right? So it's very much thinking about politics only through the lens of like kind of political, I guess through like voting ideas and like party affiliation. And I hope to, at least in my book, think more about politics as like a broader kind of political environment.
Sorry, you're gonna go left here.
That shapes the political experience. And so like...
And you're gonna shoot these Rambo guys with bullets. So you're gonna hold A.
Okay.
And one of them's gonna drop a green card.
So like one of the first articles I published out of my dissertation research was about how the Black Lives Matter movement was basically changing the way that, informing the way, I guess, that people were making choices about who they wanted to date. And so we largely, when we're thinking about like social movements, we don't think about like how it might change like who people want to be in relationships with. At least at the time, that wasn't really what a lot of the literature was talking about.
Oh, there you go. Green card.
What a time to have a green card.
Sure dark. Too soon.
Get deported to a prison in Venezuela.
Gitmo.
Or El Salvador, not Venezuela. And so what I was finding was actually really bizarrely, like I wasn't going into it thinking that this was going to be a conversation I was going to be having with people, but like these women started telling me about how they would like literally match with these people on the apps, and then they would like
keep going.
Like send them a link, to a video of like a police brutality case or something else that had been happening like recently. Especially in Texas, we had several major incidents that had happened at that time.
Yeah.
Like one case was like a little girl, like a 14 or 15-year-old girl was at a pool party at a somebody's like and got tackled by police, and this all got recorded and ended up on the internet. I
remember that one.
And so, people would like send these videos or these news stories or whatever it was to like people that they were matching with, and like wanting to know their stances on these issues before like they would agree to maybe meet up on a date at all, or would be something they would bring up during a date. And like this is just not, I think, the kind of thing that people were really thinking about as like part of that process. And so part of what I'm thinking, part of what I want to do for the book, which this is also like largely dating research, mostly dating research, right? Talks to people at the time, who you're in a relationship with at the time. We don't usually follow people what we would call longitudinally over time. You get some of the big survey data like Ad Health or some of those ones that follow these young people over their lives, and so but it's not following them like in a specific relationship necessarily. And so what I'm planning to do for the book is actually do follow-up interviews with all of the original women that I interviewed, or as many of them as I can get back in contact with, and basically see how the like kind of political environment,
you have that already,
okay,
right there, yep,
has shaped how that has impacted their dating over the last, now at this point it'll have been 10 years since I've talked to many of them. I originally was going to do this in 2020. I was like, oh yeah, 5 years, like that'll be a nice like little time. And then it was pandemic times, and like nobody wants to talk to anybody.
Man, the comment of misadventure is perfectly timed. I feel like COVID gave everyone amnesia about what was going on 2015 to 2019.
Yeah.
Timing, nice. Way
and
to go,
so do I have a blue card or
Yep,
okay.
Yep, you're good on that.
And so, but I'm like, 2015, 2016, we were running up into a Trump presidency. Here we are in a Trump presidency again in 2025. So, even with the 10-year difference, but I do think like Texas is very politically different. And so I think so there are some folks now who are exploring like how people are making dating choices around access to abortion.
Yeah.
And so, like, are you choosing to partner, or are you choosing to have sex in certain kinds of ways, based on whether you'd be able to access an abortion? And so, like, some people have found some findings that suggest that, like, people are maybe more willing to engage in, like, same-sex sex because that won't result in a pregnancy.
Interesting. That's thoughtful.
That maybe wouldn't have engaged in that kind of a relationship.
That is strategic.
Right.
So way to go, right-wingers who wanted to prevent heterosexual sex. You have increased the prevalence.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, because that's their goal, right? It's to punish sex,
I mean,
right?
and that is, and that's, I think, largely data I've seen people are doing with college students. So maybe it's also like that particular demographic, right? Like, I don't know how much that's reflected in like the broader population that is also having to deal with this issue.
Sorry to intervene. So here you're going to have to kill people. You got to shoot the guy in the wheelchair with a rocket. But don't worry, he's a bad guy. So tap A. So yep, gentle. Yep, you're just going to spam that. So kill everything on screen. He'll come back. Spam rockets.
Wow, that is quite speedy for a
exactly
wheelchair-bound guy.
I mean, this is what the war on drugs has brought us. Buys rejoice. Grindr has entered the chat. Is Grindr secretly controlling the Republican Party? We don't know.
Well, there's a whole group, a friend of mine who studies right-wing, gay right-wing movements. So your log cabin Republicans and other things like that. So, you have a lot of these gay Republicans gay conservatives who feel quite betrayed by
the obvious platform of their party. But anyway.
They thought it meant the trans people, right?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
You got...
it's not LGBT.
You've got a whole movement of...
All right, so tap A, like a little gentler on the tap. Like, you don't even have to push the button down all the way.
Just at this point, I'm being attacked by dogs. I don't know what the tapping is doing.
To get rockets. If you spam rockets.
Oh, no. But it's not working when I'm being murdered by dogs.
Misadventures. It's white men. It's okay. You can say it. We're terrible.
I mean, but the thing is it's not exclusively.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is the most.
There you go. There's one.
Just diabolical, and he crawls away.
He inchworms off the screen. You got to do it twice more.
This is unreal.
This is a terrible game, and I apologize.
This is an ableist.
He's a drug dealer. They're barely human.
I mean, sure. This is utterly
this isn't even the best phase of the bad guy. So.
If my students are watching, don't judge.
Oh, don't worry. It's on YouTube. It'll be on YouTube in 2 days.
Oh, no.
Forever. The internet will know. Oh, there you go. Number 2.
Heyo.
He's got one more wheelchair.
And a dog.
We got to take care of that.
A dog came with.
But yeah, we're coming up on the end, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have any last-minute questions for Shantel, she's happy to answer them while beating the last boss in NARC. But also, we got to figure out somebody to raid. If you guys have any suggestions, we are happy to take them.
Heyo.
Oh, Texan Space Agency is on. That's
Do I
fun.
Step on it?
Yeah. The card. All right, are you ready for the final boss?
Actually.
Oh, so this one.
Oh, the final boss.
Are you ready for this? I'll let you engage with him first and then explain how you fight him. Because we didn't have time to preview the fight. I just, you need to experience this on your own.
I feel like I need a drink first.
At least a drink. Probably should get the whiskey out for this. Are you ready?
Man. Okay, what are we doing? Oh, he's a giant head.
And he's shooting tongues at you.
What?
Those are tongues.
Get out of here.
Yeah, written and directed by Nancy Reagan. This is what she thought. No, I'm just kidding. She thought the war on drugs looked like this.
This is like that, remember that commercial that was like, this is your brain on drugs, and it's a fried egg?
Yes. That's Rachel Lee Cook. Yeah, that was an amazing commercial, actually. Compared to all the previous drug commercials, that was one of the most, like, honest, like, conveyances of what
Mr. Big International?
Yeah, he's a drug boss.
This is absurd.
All right, So what I'm going to tell you to do is walk away from him, get some distance. Wait, do it right now. Press right. Okay, go to the top of the screen. Go to the top of the screen. Keep going right. Keep going right. Top of the screen. So if you get to the top of the screen, his tongues can't hit you. So all the way on top.
Okay.
And run away. Just go right or left, or he's hurting you right now. When you die, okay, get up, press right, hold right, hold right. You're good. But here's the hard part. You have to do jump and then rocket him in the air. So turn back. And if you get sick of trying this, I can do it. So pause there, turn around. You're going to tap jump.
That's this one.
Yep.
Okay.
And then on the way down, you're going to hit a rocket. So jump. A little gentler. You're squatting. Okay, yeah. And then on the bottom, yeah. So you have to tap B and then tap A while you're in the air. So run away. Get the distance.
Okay.
Also, why is he a shade darker than Max? Oh, is he? Is that a different skin tone?
I mean, I'm assuming it's the fatness. This is also like racialized. Well, there's a lot of work about racializing of fatness.
Ooh. Is it actually a different tone? I can't even tell.
Okay, like I can't. I give up. You take it. I'm just gonna.
I'll take this one. So yeah, this is the most challenging part, and this gets everybody. But you have to turn around.
This is taking an interesting sci-fi turn because he's literally just a head on like a floating.
Yes. Yeah. No, I don't know who invented this.
He's a skeleton. Wait a minute.
You can do this phase. I'll give it back to you. All right. So
this is not anatomically correct.
What you're going to do now is when you press start, turn around, hold bullets, and you're going to stand between these two lines right here and just move up and down and shoot him. So hold A, just move up and down a little bit. That's going to now run away, move back. You saw the vertebrae go away. You're going to hit 5 more of those. So turn around, hold A. This is how we win the war on drugs, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't need $20 trillion. We just needed NARC and a vertebrae shooting gun.
This is triggering because I got a herniated disc because of the car accident I was in a couple of months ago.
I did not know.
No,
totally worth it.
Who knows that information?
I mean, this is cathartic. Then.
I don't think I was expecting that somebody with 15 vertebrae to show up here.
Run away, do it again. Oh, you're so close. There's only 3 left.
Disco skeleton.
Oh man, this is just the war on drugs. Yeah. Oh, there you go. 2 more vertebrae. You got this.
The drugs are the party drugs.
Oh, you did it. Go to the right. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen,
there you go, Mr. Big.
Oh, we learn about the war on drugs. All right, go through that. All right, there's 1 more level left.
What do you mean?
This is civil forfeiture, the level. You can just grab the gold.
This is. Did you watch Aaron Pierre? Something Ridge. It's a movie about civil forfeiture.
Oh, no, I have not.
Oh, it's actually really good. So he's like a former Marine and basically has to deal with this like small town racist, like police.
Oh, I think I have seen that.
And he kicks everybody's
Rebel
ass.
Ridge. There it is. Cuddle Puppy. Thank you.
He kicks everybody's ass in the movie.
I mean, based on a true story. There it is. You won the war on drugs. Congratulations. Yeah. You beat NARC.
Wow. How far down on the list am I in terms of speed and finishing?
Contact your local DEA agent. You did it. Now you get to put your initials in.
Man.
No, you're actually pretty good on the speed, and the reason is we intervene on the jump, shoot the rocket thing. Sometimes people spend like 10 minutes on that. So your time is pretty good, but you get an asterisk because I helped.
Wow.
Sorry. It's on the scoreboard. I apologize. Now can we defund the DEA? I mean, we might as well. We do defund everything else. We won the war on drugs.
Oh, man. Okay.
Man, that finger is an abomination, though, isn't it?
It's a lot of things.
You did it. Congratulations. At exactly 11:01. So we are on time.
Come through a
congratulations. Well, Chantel, it has been a hell of a night. 3 hours down, 3 hours up, 3 hours down. We killed everyone in Oregon Trail shortly before the end. R.I.P. Hastings and Daphne and Dredd and
Phyllis and York.
And York all died, especially at the end. We were good. It was only Daphne up until the skill test at the end.
It's all because y'all cursed me. We should have just kept it moving.
So are you feeling like you never want to play it again, or tomorrow are you going to go back and revisit, like, just to beat it?
If I didn't have a million other times, I probably will try to do it this summer. Honestly, I think I should try to make my nephews play it.
Oh, you should. It's a life lesson, that's
that
for
would
sure.
be, I think, highly, because I assume they don't. I mean, they don't teach cursive in school anymore.
Yeah.
Like, why would they be making them play the Oregon Trail?
They got to learn somewhere, right? So Oregon Trail, we failed, but it was a victory nonetheless. It was a lot of fun. We got to do some hunting. Played a little bit of Mortal Kombat. You got a few special moves in there, but also got crushed a little bit. Super Mario Kart.
A little bit is a kind of
Super Mario Kart, we finished the races. That's good. But more importantly, you won the war on drugs. Congratulations. This was totally worth it, beating NARC. So, after 3 hours of gaming and drinking and comments from chat, do you have any parting words for the audience?
Don't do drugs.
Is that it? Do drugs in a controlled manner.
I mean, I don't do them, but my friends who do them for recreation seem to be having a good time. So,
Exactly.
drink your water.
Yeah, stay hydrated.
Be careful. Have a friend on by, stand by.
That's awesome. All right, that's our parting words from the guests. Shantel, thank you very much for joining me. We were on a panel together talking about social media, and we got to finally do this stream together, which was a lot of fun. It was great revisiting Oregon Trail and talking through a whole bunch of topics, visiting everything. And we went all over the place from, I don't know, fan fiction to tropes and movies to, talking about your next paper and book. Obviously, you're going to write about NARC, which is really important, but thank you very much.
I will make sure that there is a kind acknowledgement to NARC in the book.
I mean, you beat the war on drugs.
The book has my friend who's a lawyer is actually the one who titled my book. She titled it. She came up with the title during my dissertation defense. It's going to be called Swipe White.
Wow. I like that. It's got some edge. It's got some topical nature.
You are
yes.
so smart.
That's fun. I like that. So keep your eyes out for Swipe White. It'll be out sometime. I don't know.
Oh, I've got to write it first.
It's like a 2-year process, right? You got to find a publisher, but it will be out, and we look forward to the acknowledgement of NARC that changed your life for the better. So thank you everyone for joining us. We'll raid someone in a little bit, but stick around. In the meantime, our next guest, April 2nd, I don't know who it's going to be. And so I was scheduled to be at an NSF panel, National Science Foundation panel in Washington, D.C. on April 2nd. Oof. So I wasn't going to have a stream, but they've canceled all in person.
They've canceled NSF. NSF just
basically. And so I will no longer be in Washington, D.C. on April 2nd, which is 2 weeks from now. And so what I'm going to do is try to track down a guest, but I have not done that yet. And so at the very least, we'll have a guest a month from now. That'll be Francis Ashwanth. He's a biology professor who does virology, but hopefully I'll get somebody in 2 weeks to be on the stream. So keep your eyes open. If you're not following us on Twitter or Twitch or whatever, we'll send notifications about future guests. But it's been a pleasure. Your guys' questions, it's always a fun journey. Stick around. We're going to raid somebody really quick, probably an education related streamer. I'll figure it out. But thank you all. It's been a lot of fun. The questions, comments, a lot of shit talk tonight from the chat, but so it goes.
I won't take offense.
Nor should you. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for taking this journey with me. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.